live.
Oh, hello. Good morning and welcome to the Mike Graham Show. It is nearly 7:02. Oh, thanks. The coffee as well. Yeah, sorry, it's Monday morning, so obviously we're a bit out of sorts because we've forgotten how to do it again. But here we are. Emma Wolf has joined us. Very good morning to you, Emma.
Good morning.
It's a very happy day, obviously. I came in and the first thing I did was I put the split of champagne in the fridge, the one that's been sitting behind me ever since we started the show 6 months ago. The little Moet split. We're going to open it. Maybe at 8 o'clock when Keir Starmer comes out and decides that
when the
he's had
lectern
enough.
comes out.
When the lectern comes out, and because it's funny, isn't it? I mean, I've been laughing pretty much since Saturday night when the story broke, because it was only on. It was only last week, wasn't it? I think, was it Monday? We played it out when he said, "I'm going to fight."
It's my duty.
Yeah, it's my duty.
It's my duty
and
to
we
stay.
Said, doesn't he sound like Meghan Markle, right?
Yeah.
Should we remind ourselves of that, Pooch?
And we were all saying, "Go, go,
Just
go."
go.
And he's telling us it's his duty to stay.
Yeah, let's have a look. Here we go.
I'm not going to walk away. I don't think we should plunge the country into the chaos of a leadership election.
But if that happens and you stand, wouldn't you be a contributor to that chaos?
I don't think it should happen.
But if it does
happen,
likely.
I will fight. And let me just be clear with you, that's not about personal vanity. It's not about stubbornness. It's out of a very deep sense of duty. I was elected to serve this country, notwithstanding the difficult circumstances. That is what I am doing. And in the last few weeks, others have made their own case. Mm-hmm. I've been concentrating on the job I was elected to do, which is to deliver for this country. This is about a sense of service and duty. It's not vanity. It's not stubbornness.
We're going to have to do away with the Starmer alert now and get a Burnham alert.
A Burnham bell.
Yeah. I must point out to you, by the way, something very disturbing has come across the desk, right? And I don't know whether you've spotted it, but have you seen what he's wearing?
I know but I'm wearing Birkenstock.
But
I know.
Okay. No, but you're a woman. You could wear sandals. I'm sorry to be sexist
He's wearing
about it.
Birkenstock. I saw those this morning.
Is he wearing Birkenstocks?
They're Birkenstocks.
Which are the upper sort of echelon
They're
of
really
sandal.
nice, but you don't. A politician doesn't wear Birkenstocks.
Men shouldn't wear them.
I mean,
sorry.
I would say men can wear Birkenstocks with a nice pair of shorts.
No.
Or flip-flops.
When I was at school, right?
When
I was at school, you know, the kids that would come in sandals would get beaten up.
Yeah.
Because
I would say massive no for a prospective prime minister.
And also no socks.
No, I know that.
I don't want to see his
worse
feet.
with socks.
Well, yeah,
but no, it's all wrong.
But I just don't want to see Andy Burnham's toes.
I don't. And I don't,
You know?
and at least he's not wearing a lapel sticker or a lapel badge.
No.
He kept wearing, apparently he has a consultant for every outfit that he wears.
I bet you he does, because people who dress like him don't just dress like that.
No.
You don't just wake up in the morning
The tight
and go,
white, the tight black t-shirt, as though he thinks he looks good.
Is he going to wear, do you think, a shirt with a collar and a tie when he's Prime Minister, if that's what he becomes?
This sense of entitlement right now is off the scale. He's pretty much already announced his... Sorry, do you want to go back to right at the beginning when you started laughing on Saturday night?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this whole thing...
The whole thing is a joke, isn't it? The whole thing's ridiculous. We're told, as it started to break on sort of Saturday night, that Keir Starmer's kind of considering his position. What was the phrase that Peter Carr used?
He was in. Do you remember that made me laugh? He was in Chequers, speaking with the only woman he truly trusts in the world, Lady Vic, as if.
Yeah, what was she doing there?
What was she doing?
Popped in for the night.
Also, if you really lived with your wife, you'd chat about things like over 2 years, every night in bed, like over dinner. You talk about stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
It's like he's almost, if he was really there with Lady Victoria, it's like they've called a summit to talk about it.
Right.
How weird
but
is
this
this
is what
man?
he does, though. He only calls summits. He doesn't know how to do it any other way. He probably rings her up and goes, "Let's have a summit about what we should do
Let's have a
next."
thing. Should I resign?
But I started to get a bit worked up about her, because I thought to myself, hang on a minute, she's telling him to stay. She's urging him to hang in.
I think she's telling him to stay.
And what's it got to do with her? She wasn't elected. You know, she's the Prime Minister's wife.
What was she doing at the G7?
Yeah, I'm not interested. No, I have no idea what she was doing there.
Ridiculous.
You know, meeting Zelensky and going, oh, hello. You know, I'm not
Look,
interested.
if you're an accountant, you don't take your wife to work.
No.
If you're a lawyer, you don't take your wife to work.
No.
What is this thing about dragging your wife to expensive summits and all this nonsense?
I know, it is absolutely incredible. But I was thinking last night as well, once it all kind of... So Peter Carl appears on Sunday rather. Shows and kind of gets drawn into saying basically he's going, right, without wanting to.
Why would you
But
roll
it then
out
got
Peter
to the
Carl?
point where I thought of all of the things that he said, because the worst I think he did on Sunday, was that he started to say he felt betrayed by people and that somehow he had given up part of his life to make Labour electable and some of the lives of his teenage children. I mean, like throwing his own kids into the arena to say that, you know, I've now had people have turned their back on me and they've stabbed me in the back and all this. And this is the same guy who said, 3 weeks ago, I've won every fight I've ever been in.
Yeah.
Well, he's not winning this one, is he?
Exactly. This absolute joke. And I'm really, really angry at the way Burnham is just assuming. And I know we are going to disagree on this, Mike.
Yes.
Because I would actually now prefer Starmer just to stay on, just to limp on a bit more, and then we would at least perhaps end up with a general election. The problem now is I'm worried Burnham he's expecting this coronation. Apparently he wants to be in place by September.
By September. As if he's
So what, we'll just waste the next 3 months for our country?
Yeah, exactly.
So don't worry about the country,
so
mate.
Starmer comes out, we're told Starmer's likely to come out this morning. It could well be that it's at 8 o'clock, we're not sure.
Yeah.
But sometime during this show, hopefully. If he does come out and resign, then are we supposed to expect him to hang in there until September?
As a lame-duck Prime Minister with nothing.
Doing square root of bugger all, frankly, and also having no power,
no
authority.
Power, and nothing gets done.
Yeah.
And all we have is Andy Burnham preening around until a big coronation in September.
But here's what I think, and I think Burnham is so conceited that he will now think that because he won Makerfield, he can win a general election. And I think he'll have one, and I think he'll call one, and I think he'll think he can beat Reform, and he'll lose, and that's my bet.
I'm not sure. I'm worried that there'll be a Burnham bounce. I think that people of the North tend to stick with what they know. I am worried now about Reform.
People of the North. It's a bit like, like some kind of Viking thing.
Well, but it's true. A lot of them don't like Burnham, and yet they still went with him for Makerfield.
But don't you think that that's because they wanted to get rid of Starmer? And I think a lot of, certainly people who were being polled up there by, is it More in Common?
Yeah.
The Luke Trill crowd.
Yeah.
They were talking to people who, a lot of whom were saying they were voting for Burnham just to get rid of Starmer. And they didn't actually like him. They might have otherwise voted Reform. They might have otherwise voted Tory. They
could have just voted Reform. That would have scuppered Burnham, and it would have scuppered.
But then if they scuppered Burnham, they might have then been stuck with Starmer.
I'm just wondering if it was that tactical or whether I just, and I'm not anti, I'm not anti-Reform. In fact, I'm very pro in many ways. But I am hearing that there's trouble at
a lot of people
are
saying they didn't handle it very well, and I think that's probably
right. Well, let's see what happens for Manchester, because if they can't take the mayoral by-election there, they're in trouble.
Although, have you seen the numbers, though? Because I looked at these at the weekend.
I don't even know who their candidate is.
Yeah, well, they haven't announced it yet, I don't think.
Okay.
Restore have said they're going to have a candidate.
Yeah.
But the Burnham victory, the last victory, I think I'm right in saying, he had something like 425,000 votes to Reform's 50,000.
Wow.
So as much as it's a possible win for them, that's a long way to make up.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You know
exactly.
what I mean? And the thing that Labour are really good at, and we've seen it in London with Sadiq Khan, is they get the vote out.
Yes.
They're very good at doing that. It's a machine, right? Reform, I think, is still in their infancy. They're still kind of pushing to try and get themselves a foothold in lots of different places. Yeah. And I think you're right, and I think they would admit it. I mean, I've been talking to some people close to the kind of Reform leaders, if you like, and they're certainly looking to see what they could have done better.
And it's not going to be, they've had such a strong couple of years. It's not going to be plain sailing. It's not as though, it's just I am like
Somebody's asking if we colour coordinated, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I just saw that a minute ago.
Well, you know me, true blue. But
yeah, I mean, you know what, I hadn't worn this tie in ages, and I just
I was worried you were going to wear red, and I thought, you won't do that, will you? You won't do that to us on a day like this.
Not today.
Not today. This is what you're wearing. There you go, have a look at that.
Oh yeah, that was the other night up at, we got invited up to this hotel and we realised it was our kind of 6-month anniversary. So we took Charlotte and we took Elena and Pooch and I and we went and had a very nice dinner at this very nice hotel where they had a brass band and they had these women dressed as, I don't know what they were dressed as really. What would you
kind of ostriches?
Ostriches.
Dancing girls.
Dancing girls.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was very nice. Anyway, I was in recovery because I'd pretty much done all night the night before. So, but it was all right. It was good. It was nice to just get out of London actually and get some,
There's that's the one.
Oh, there you go. Using a Stephen and Ellie from GBD, please.
Oh yes, that is funny because I said to Mike one day, Stephen and Ellie always combine. She sends him...
Do they do it deliberately, though?
I shouldn't say this, but I think she indicates what colour dress she's going to wear the night before and he finds the tie. But we don't actually do that.
No. I was just lucky today. Must be a
I
good
just
omen.
picked-
Reformy, very reformy.
It must be a good
Well,
omen.
I don't know. I think this is more royal blue, and for me, reform is quite turquoise.
It is. Well, Richard Tice was in here last week, and he changed the Mike Graham show sign to turquoise.
Well, it's always blue, and that's
But
nice.
it's dark. It's a bit more like this kind of blue now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, all sorts of different headlines on the front pages.
But
this
Mike,
morning.
can we just focus now on what we need, which is a general election?
Yes, I think we
This
need
is
a general
not
election.
on. This
And
is
I-
not on. The country is
Yeah.
being taken for mugs.
Yeah, and it's almost as though they've sort of, it's a coup. I mean, they're calling it a coup on the front page of Metro this morning because it kind of is a coup because, you know, basically
It's
it
an
looks as though
internal takeover.
Andy Burnham decided he wanted to be Prime Minister and it looks like now he will become the Prime Minister.
And was he even an MP at the time of the overwhelming landslide majority in
he hasn't been.
2024?
Well, somebody said to me today, apparently one of the whips in the Labour government is lending him their office because he's coming down this afternoon to be sworn in as an MP.
Yeah.
He hasn't been an MP for over 10 years, right? So a lot of the people he's going to meet, he doesn't even know, right? And he's going to be sitting in this office, kind of, you know, lording it over. He's appointed Louise Haigh for some reason.
I know.
You know
She's really
the
lining
telephone-
herself up as
you know,
his number two. Have
the
you seen her
telephone
on
fraudster.
Manoeuvre?
I mean, I haven't seen her lately. What colour's her hair at the moment?
Right, so she's really toned it all down.
Oh, has she?
The red has gone, which
Okay.
tells me, as a woman, that tells me she's absolutely jockeying for number two.
Right.
Louise
Or
Haigh.
she's got a new boyfriend.
God help us.
Yes.
Does she have a boyfriend?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but you know, women change their hair, don't they, when they have a new boyfriend? Sometimes.
Well, I just changed my hair. I don't have a new boyfriend or
Okay.
girlfriend.
Well, I'm glad to hear
Or
it.
non-binary
But
person.
no, or a non-binary person, yeah. But the thing is that he's going to be sitting there like the king, you know, in
I know.
waiting. You know, Starmer's going to be grubbing about, presumably in Downing Street, kind of packing his bags. It's all very weird.
The last few weeks, do you remember that? Do you remember TV game shows, kids sort of weekend TV, where there would be like a slime machine?
Yes.
And you'd pull the lever and then the slime would
Yeah.
come down.
Yeah.
Have you noticed, like, how they've all kind of disappeared? Like everybody, John Healey resigning,
Yeah.
Al Khan's resigning,
Right.
everyone's sort of like disappeared.
Right.
And
Well,
no
because
one's come
they're all
out, but a
plotting.
few of them, like Peter Kyle, from still trying to defend him,
Yeah.
just kind of, there's only a few that have clung on to the bitter end with Starmer.
Yeah. Well, let's do a couple more clips, shall we? Because Peter Kyle, this is him just a couple of weeks ago, saying that he wanted Starmer to hang on.
What do you think of Andy Burnham?
Well, I think he's a remarkable figure, and I certainly pay tribute to his victory in Makerfield. That was quite an astonishing result. How he'll translate into Parliament and for the rest of his career, well, look, let's see. Any Labour government that puts wealth creation up there with wealth distribution and making we have a fairness in our economy is one that will certainly have my backing. I had a meeting, a sort of long meeting with the Prime Minister on Friday, and it was just the two of us in the room. And within a few minutes after the meeting, I started to read speculation about what it was we spoke about that had no bearing at all about the tone or the content of the conversation that we did have. So right now, I'm here as a Secretary of State on behalf of the Prime Minister's government, and I can comment on the things that this government is doing. And I know that one of those things is the Prime Minister who's taking time to think and reflect about all of the political challenges and the reality of the landscape upon which he is standing at the moment.
Realities of the politics of the moment.
Word salad.
I mean,
That he's the
apparently
Prime Minister for the
everybody's just-
moment,
yeah.
all this, the realities of the political landscape. None of this. You actually put it together and parse what each word means.
Yeah.
None of it means anything.
Doesn't mean anything at all.
It's
no.
like when people talk about moving forward.
Yeah.
What?
I know. It's embarrassing. But also, clearly, the reason he's only speaking to his wife now down in Chequers is because nobody else wants him. Do you know what I read at
And
the
that's
weekend?
what the Telegraph was saying.
Yeah.
All the support has disappeared. It's down to now friends
Right.
and family, which
Because
sounds
on
like your
Friday-
mobile phone deal.
I know, because on Friday it was like, you know, he's digging in and he's not going to give up without a
know.
fight.
Something
going to be
changed.
something, well, I think what changed was everybody convincing him that basically they want him to go.
Every single
so all the
MP.
people that he thought were on his
Yeah,
side
yeah.
have chucked him under the bus. In fact, Cooper's chucked him. Even probably old Pat McFadden's chucked him
Yeah.
under the bus. Rachel Reeves probably, I think, the same.
Mahmood. Sorry,
Mahmood. They've all
Mahmood.
done it. Mahmood. They've all done it. But here's another one that I thought was interesting.
Whenever you do that walk and talk around like
Yeah.
posh part of town
Yeah.
near your gym, I'm always
Yeah.
expecting Mahmood to leap
I
into
know.
shot in her
I'm always worried about doing
in
that
her
on a
workout
Wednesday
gear.
because-
Well, I'm worried
because-
about your phone.
Well, I am.
I mean, you're the famous having your phone
I know.
stolen man.
I know.
And you walk around central London.
Yeah.
I've never had a phone stolen, and I would
But
not
do you know
walk
what?
around.
I've got a little thing here which I put.
What,
around
so they
my
rip your finger off then?
Well, hopefully not. But I mean, it does worry
A
me.
lot of people have said they're nervous
I
watching
know.
you do that.
I know. Well, I'm nervous doing it.
All we're waiting for is the man in the balaclava to come by on the e-bike.
True. I know.
It's the only reason we're watching. On the e-bike and zooming past.
So I'm going to just start finding places where they can't go. So Wednesday I went to Christopher's Place. I don't know if you know.
Oh yeah, of course.
Opposite Bond Street.
Yeah, it's
right?
gorgeous. But that's where you walk around.
And it's a pedestrian area, so they can't come down there on a bike. So I'm just going to keep trying to find places around there. Like there's a square which has just got a park in it, and I'm just going to walk around, you know.
Round the back.
Because I'm like, absolutely, I'm terrified that somebody's going to come and nick it. Not because the phone doesn't matter, it's just the inconvenience.
Oh, that's
of it,
everything on your phone. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so apparently Starmer sends Burnham a note of congratulation when he won on Thursday night. Yeah. And Burnham apparently hasn't responded. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
So he's not even talking to him. Miliband's refusing to take his calls. That was in the Times on Friday, right? So he's literally like the sort of the man that nobody wants.
Yeah.
Sitting in the house, which is supposed to be the place where the man that leads this country lives.
I know. Clinging.
I mean, just ridiculous.
It's so humiliating. And you know, of course, he'll spin it as though now, as he resigns, it'll all be about service and duty
and how betrayed he is, and how, you know.
Do you think? I think he'll make it seem as though he's doing the best thing for the country.
As you might expect, Dan Hodges has stuck the knife in massively, right?
Yeah.
He says, this is the reality about Starmer, the man who pledged the cleansing of politics, delivered the Mandelson-Epstein scandal, the man who promised to get to grips with benefits, caved into his own MPs, left the country with a spiralling, unsustainable welfare bill, the man who promised to stop the boats, disowned his own immigration policy a month after it was launched.
Okay, and that's all very well. Well done, Dan. Slow hand clap. We've been saying that since the beginning.
Yeah,
all right. So I'm glad Dan's had his what's it called, renaissance.
He's had his
change of heart,
clarity.
his moment of clarity.
Yeah.
And what
it's
makes
like a 12-step program.
Yeah, Dan is exactly. What really makes me angry about these lefties, and I debate with them all the time, and they all feel, I feel really personally disappointed by Starmer.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? They should be ashamed of themselves.
Exactly.
They've got the country into this position, and we warned them before the general election. In 2024, we were saying, this is dangerous. This is people like Starmer, Angela Rayner. Do you really want these people? Burnham, this kind of Miliband zealots. Do you really want these people in the cabinet behind the doors of number 10? They all went ahead and did it, and now look what we've got.
Now look what we've got.
I'm not, going to mop up their tears. Well done, Dan Hodges, for seeing it now.
Right. Absolutely right. He leaves our country isolated, defenceless, and virtually bankrupt. Yeah, well done, Sir Keir Starmer, or Keir Starmer.
Well done
take
for
his
everybody.
knighthood away.
Yeah, but Starmer's just
so
one deluded man.
Yeah.
Well done for every idiot who voted this lot in.
I know.
I think we've got some infiltration in politics here. Have a look at this.
Go on.
Here you go.
What have we got? Peter Carl looks like an Edward Hughes impersonator.
He does look quite like Edward Hughes.
He actually does. Ed Hughes' brother. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Do you know...
Can we have another quick look? Can I just stick him on?
Yeah, go on. Stick him on.
What do you think of Andy Burnham?
Well, I think he's a
He
remarkable...
is Edward Hughes.
So...
How amazing.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
That is incredible. Well, maybe his next job could be reading the news for us, because he won't have one soon.
Poll. Have you got a poll?
Yeah, we've got the poll, yeah.
What's
the poll? Chuck the poll up, because we've got it's a bit Route 1 this for us, because normally we're a bit more subtle, but we decided to go with what Starmer's next job should be. And here it is. Sausage maker, number 1. 2, cleaner at the Emirates. 3, toolmaker. And 4, Burnham's butler.
Well, it's a close one, isn't it?
It is
Butler.
close.
Sorry, I thought you said something else there.
Butterer or
No,
something.
I wanted to put bum boy in.
By the way, have you noticed that the ticker seems to be old from Friday?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's all right. You've forgotten how to do the ticker as well, because we forget everything on Monday. You know,
Well,
it's a new world.
I didn't have
Speaking of butlers, and
He's so horrible, because I sent it to him late. But it still got to you before the show started, though.
speaking of Burnham's butler, how's it going with the ghee?
What a horrible... Oh, my God.
Because in this weather, I'm imagining it's gone from being clarified lard to a liquid.
I got back home last night and I sort of opened the fridge, and luckily the cleaners had been, so the place was nice.
The cleaners have been.
The cleaners had been, and so the fridge is relatively empty, but the ghee sits in there like sort of something...
Crouching.
Do
you open the fridge almost terrified?
Ooh. Yeah. Well, yeah, because I'm just really sorry I bought it.
Okay, do yourself a favour. I don't want it. I will not go near. No.
How about you, Pooch? You want the ghee?
I don't eat butter.
No, I don't really. Here's what you do with your curry. Just spray a little bit of olive oil on it.
What, on the ghee?
On the
normally,
pan.
see, when I first started making curry, and it was what's his face, the guy from Cornwall, from
Rick Stein.
Padstow. Rick Stein.
Rick Stein.
Yeah, Rick Stein's Indian cook was really good.
Wow.
And he said,
he did Indian.
if you don't want to use ghee, you can use a little bit of vegetable oil and a little bit of butter.
Yeah.
And it's actually much lighter.
Do
'Cause the
your
ghee
arteries
just
a
made it-
favour, take the ghee, and
Yeah.
I don't know where you get rid of it because it's probably one of those things
You don't
like
wanna put
cooking
it-
oil.
you
You're
don't
not
put
meant
it
to
down
put
the
it.
drain.
No,
I just chuck it away.
Do not put it. Put it somewhere, like
Can
in
I
your
just
rubbish.
throw it in the rubbish, no?
I think so. Or
Yeah.
put it, or give it to somebody, or leave it in the hallway and say, "Does anyone want this?" But just do yourself a
doing that.
favour. Get rid.
Yeah. I'm just sorry I bought it. It's kind of a moment of madness, you know, when you do that thing and you
But
go...
how big is it?
It's half a kilo.
Oh, I thought it was like a proper industrial-sized tub.
No. It's like half a kilo, but it's still quite a big tub. I mean, it's about twice the size of that cup.
Okay. Oh,
And-
just
and
get rid of it then. Yeah.
And I'll
just
never use it up.
So why are you keeping it?
I hate throwing things away.
I know.
I'm a bit of a hoarder.
No, it's a kind of scarcity mindset, war child thing.
Yeah, maybe. Could be
Your
that.
parents. Did you
Well,
grow up?
my
Did you grow
parents-
up poor?
I did grow up. I didn't grow
Yeah.
up particularly well off, and my parents. I never left anything on my plate. My parents were always like, "You got to eat everything," as you can see.
Yep. Same.
yeah,
I was told if you
thanks
leave
anyway.
anything on your plate,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then either it'll go to the children in Africa. I could never work out how it was going to get from my plate in
Yeah.
Camden Town
Right.
to the children in Africa.
You know, that's one of my favourite jokes that they made about Bono. When they used to do the Ethiopian aid thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, he did that advert and he said, every time I clap my hands, a child dies. Well, stop clapping your hands then. Which I thought was great. What else
Can
we
I
do?
just quickly...
Go on.
I've got one. Here we go, on screen now.
What's this? What about the MGM? Oh, yes, a good point. Somebody actually asked about that because it says here, and I may
that went
need
down to the wire,
I may
Mike.
need an invigilation here. Mike, pay up £10 to Emma. You lost your bet again.
10?
Says Easy boy. It was 50, wasn't it?
It was 50.
Yeah. But here's the thing, right?
And
you
Pooch
know,
set the terms. He said 5-1, or I don't know what he said. I don't know.
I think it was double or quits. Although if I lost, I was going to give you 50 somehow, and if I won, you didn't have to give me anything. I think that was the thing.
Well, I'd
wasn't
won
it?
the tenner.
You won the 10, yeah. So the thing is, right, that June 21st was yesterday.
Isn't it weird how it went down to the wire? Because
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think you're going to be proved right this morning.
Because I think he
But
will
we
have
chose
decided.
the summer solstice.
Yeah, he decided to go on the 21st, and I remember even on Thursday night when I was doing an election special with Dan Wootton, I said, look, I think if Burnham is likely to win it, I think Starmer's gone by Monday.
Monday.
And he kind of is, by the looks of it. He's obviously decided, I think, yesterday, finally, last night, because it started to appear about midnight last night, he's going to resign at 8 a.m, and we'll see. I think an honest way to do it would be, we call it quits, and maybe I buy you a drink or something. How about that?
Shocking.
Hey?
That's a shocker. Well, let's let Pooch
What do you think, Pooch?
invigilate.
I mean, how about the...
I think
see,
a
he's
bet's
always
a
going to say
bet.
that. I need the wisdom of Solomon, but all I've got is Pooch, unfortunately.
I think we've got a Scot here.
Yeah.
I think we've got a
I
Scot
know,
who will not pay up on his bet.
Technically speaking, he resigned, I think, on Sunday, didn't he?
Hang on a minute, he hasn't resigned.
Show me the papers where he resigned.
He has not resigned. I
Well,
mean,
the
we're
papers
even...
went out a bit early.
Hang on.
I could do this all night.
We're even assuming that he's going to resign at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m.
Yeah, I don't know whether he is.
Exactly. So we don't even... I mean, he's the ultimate Klingon man.
So maybe we need to wait then and see. Maybe have a summit about it, right? There's Starmer-esque.
There we go.
Because the problem with Starmer, of course, he can't even
Well, I
make
think
up,
we put it to the viewers.
He
I
can't
mean,
even
a
make up
lot
his
of
own
people
mind.
on Twitter have been saying to me, your 50 quid is nailed on.
Maybe we should have a poll tomorrow on it. Huh? Not trying to welsh on the bet. It's all no, absolute rubbish.
The Scot is trying to welsh on the bet.
It's nothing to do with that. The point is that I have been finally proven correct. So I'm going to milk this as much as I possibly can. I've been saying this since about 2 years ago, practically, because he's not going to make the 2-year anniversary. Because if he comes out today and starts talking about an orderly transition, has he resigned or not? So
I mean, I think if
the
the lectin comes out today and he talks about leaving, then that's a resignation.
Yeah.
But that's kind of not the point. The point is...
So you're not concerned about when he actually physically leaves
I want him to
Downing
go.
Street?
I want him to go, man, go.
But you're saying he could have resigned and he'll still stay?
No, but our bet was June the 21st.
Yeah, it was.
Our bet was summer solstice.
And I believe he resigned yesterday.
Oh, come on, that's... Pooch, did Starmer resign yesterday?
I think he did.
He has not made a single statement.
But they've clearly briefed the press.
We've been hearing about this for weeks on end. Anyway.
Can we quickly talk about the weather? Have you seen this thing that France did?
Oh, yeah, they've banned outdoor drinking.
I mean,
Yeah, it's a piece of the
Very,
Telegraph
very
today.
weird. Although in America, you're not allowed to drink pints outside, are you?
Well, I mean, they call it brown bagging in America,
Oh,
don't they? Because you're not allowed to be seen with an open container of alcohol.
Yeah.
But apparently they're saying that in festivals and things like that, they're now going to make it illegal for people to drink because it's too dangerous, which seems a bit ridiculous to me, doesn't it? A bit preposterous, no?
I think that France and Italy have a wonderful culture of drinking outside. I don't know what on earth is wrong with that.
I love the idea in France where you can get a drink at the bar for less money than you can if you sit down. I don't know if that's still the case, Pooch, but it used to be the case. You'd go into these bars and say have a quick sort of Pernod or something.
Yeah, and you just basically
and if you stand at the bar, it's less money, right?
Yeah.
By the way, can you flash up the front page of the Daily Mirror? I know you've got them all there together, but the Daily Mirror page 1, I think, is great because it's got a picture of old Starmer sitting, I think, at the Emirates.
Totally isolated.
Yeah,
totally
in the
alone.
middle of all these seats. That
No
are
one
empty.
wants to be near him.
And that's kind of sums him up really in all senses of the word. Game over on the bottom right there.
Yeah.
He's just sitting in amongst the seats at Arsenal. I mean, I guess the question now is,
End times.
what is the point of him hanging around?
What is the point of him hanging
And
around?
would there be? Here's one for you. If, say, for example, what happens, and he comes out, Lurkson comes out, he says we're orderly transition. Do they put Lammy in charge until Burnham gets the job?
Exactly. That would be absolutely terrible.
I mean,
or does Burnham take over? I mean, really now, the next 3 months are a write-off.
And then what happens to the country? You know, how are we stewarded and what happens between, you know, all of the various very important things that
How
we're supposed
on
to be
earth?
doing?
We just need a general election. I think that should be the focus
Yes,
now. And
I
I know
agree.
what they'll say. They'll say, but when Rishi Sunak took over, there wasn't a general election.
Right.
It's like any criticism you make of Starmer, you get, but 14 years of the Tories. You know,
Yeah,
can
but
we
of
talk
course,
about now?
I mean, I put out a tweet this morning from Richard Tice, who found one of Angela Rayner's tweets from the
there's
24th
always a
of
tweet.
October.
And she did. Do you remember her calling for...
2022. The Tories have crowned Rishi Sunak without him saying a word about what he would do as Prime Minister. He has no mandate, no answers and no ideas. Nobody voted for this. The public deserve their say on Britain's future through a general election.
Absolutely.
Well said,
I
Angela.
think, well said,
Absolutely
Angela.
right. And I think that's entirely what we should be doing now.
Absolutely, and also the fact that I think it's even worse that Burnham wasn't part of the Labour government.
No.
He wasn't an MP
Nobody's
at the time
voted
that
him
they
in
got this. No
to
one has
be
voted
Prime
him
Minister,
in.
right?
It
Absolutely
is like
not.
a coup.
Yeah, it totally is.
So we'll see. I mean, how bad? Maybe the only thing left to see is how bad will Starmer's speech be.
Yeah.
It will not be. I thought Boris Johnson's resignation speech, and I predicted that, by the way, down to the day. I remember April 2022.
Yeah.
We were all in lockdown and
Yeah.
I was doing something and I knew it was going to be that day, and there'd been all this stuff about the cake and Cakegate and
Right.
blah, blah, blah down the
Right.
street and the parties. And I knew that Boris was going to do it that day. But I thought he gave a beautiful speech.
Yeah.
It was all about, when
He
the
was
herd
quite gracious, wasn't he?
It was, and when the herd moves, it
Yeah.
moves. And he has that.
Yeah.
He's an orator. Starmer has
Starmer will be-
never
yeah.
had an ounce of charisma
No, and
or
he won't know-
presence or anything.
and he clearly is quite a bitter character now,
Yeah.
because he now feels as though
Yeah.
he's been stitched up
Yeah.
by everybody that he was so nice to. But one of the things that he didn't do, and one of the reasons why he's so disliked in the party, is that apparently he doesn't converse with the ordinary MPs. He doesn't go and see
Doesn't
them.
talk to them.
He only talks to them when he's in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, do you remember there was that night when he was seen in the Commons tea room for the first time ever, going
Yeah.
around sort of talking to people, going, yeah, doing that thing that he does. Because at the end of the day, people don't like him because he's not very likeable.
He's not.
He's just a kind of automaton.
And I've mentioned to you that I met him at Talk and
Yeah.
everyone in the green room, and he couldn't even work a room. He couldn't walk in
No.
and be Prime Minister.
No.
Well, no, actually, that was during the leadership contest. But he had none of that presence. He had none of that. Boris Johnson
No.
is somewhere and everybody
Right.
knows about it.
Yeah.
Or even, even other sort of
actually, Rishi Sunak
senior
was all right.
politicians.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he's
I mean, the
tiny.
thing is,
It's not
he
just
will-
about being tall.
No, he will. I mean, Rishi Sunak probably will be remembered for that ridiculous speech he made in the rain.
That's my
'Cause it
favourite
looks-
ever
But yeah,
moment.
But actually, he kind of
Things
carried it
can
off.
only get wetter.
Yeah.
And he carried on and he'd gone out and it started to rain heavily. And he got to that point where he thought, I can't run back in for an
Yeah,
umbrella.
why didn't somebody give him an umbrella?
No, but they couldn't run out with an umbrella because then it was ridiculous.
Steve McLaren moment.
And
Yeah.
it was so good, and he got so wet.
Yeah.
And as a cyclist, you are literally wet. He was like
He's
wet
just
in his
dripping.
pants
Yeah.
and his socks and his
socks
shoes.
Yeah, yeah.
And he carried on. And he was trying to be like
I got that
dignified.
wet on
It was
a boat
so
once.
brilliant.
I was out on a friend of mine's boat, and we hit this storm.
Yeah.
And when I got back in,
Yeah.
even the money in my pocket was
wet.
was
yeah.
dripping wet.
And you like
know.
open, you take your shoes out and you empty them,
yeah,
that kind of
exactly
wet.
right.
He was so wet.
But I bet here's what his speech will be full of. It will be full of all the things that he's going to say that they did, that they achieved.
know.
They brought the waiting list down, which
Yeah.
they haven't done, by
Lies.
the way. They stopped the
Killed loads
they
of
brought down
pensioners.
immigration numbers, which they haven't done. You seen the
Lies.
story this morning
Yes.
about how they're going to have to now change change the way that they do the one in, one out system.
Yes.
Because they're all coming back into the country on lorries.
Well, we've always said it's 300 in, 1 out.
Yeah, right.
And then they come back.
And then they come back
and
anyway.
we pay them anyway to go.
Yeah, I know.
That is an absolute joke. Someone else died in the Channel this weekend.
Yes.
I mean, it's disgusting.
The whole project
It has been
a
2
disaster.
years, nearly 2 years of failure.
Yeah. The whole project has been a disaster from the beginning to end.
And
Says
Burnham,
here,
Burnham will carry on with it.
I'll quote from our good friend Mr. Dan Hodges, his final paragraph. From start to finish, his premiership has been an unprecedented, unmitigated catastrophe. And the longer we can all remember that, the better off Britain will be.
Well
done, Dan, for promoting him.
Yes, and what exactly? And what choice do we have now?
Right. Yeah. Now
we have no choice at all.
Now we've got a guy who gave no clue during his election for the Makerfield by-election of what his intentions would be if he was to become Prime Minister. And in fact, I was listening to a guy this morning, some pundits from the Labour Party talking on Times Radio, and he said, oh, well, that wasn't the time for him to explain what he would do.
When do we get a sit-down with Burnham where he actually tells us what his project
and
is,
when does
what
he
his
put
vision?
a proper shirt on with a tie
when does he put
and
a
a
proper
jacket?
shirt on? But I mean,
I don't want a Prime Minister with a round neck T-shirt on.
I know.
Sorry. I mean, I don't think that's the
But
right
actually,
look.
I think it's worse than that. When you look at Burnham's kind of advisors, when you look at his economic ideas, his policies, it's actually really, really alarming. The things that he will do, the things that he wants to do are going to take us from bad to worse.
Yeah.
So it's really, this Burnham thing, this Burnham bounce, we could end up with another 10 years of Labour. That's
No,
my
I don't
worry.
think so, you see, because I think they'll be sort of lured into this idea.
I don't think he
that they
will.
can
I
win.
don't think he will go to a general election. I think he'll be fricked.
Should we have another bet?
I'm not betting with someone who doesn't pay up.
Well, we could just keep doing double or quits, can't we?
Please look at these.
Can we not do double or quits?
No.
Mike, stop welching on a bet. Pay up, bud. Listen, I would pay up if I had the money, but I haven't got it at the moment because I haven't got any cash.
Council tax bills due.
Unless you've got one of those credit card machines.
Oh yeah, I've got a credit card machine.
I'll tell you what I'll do.
What are you calling me, a lady of the night?
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll find the cash and I'll bring it in, and next Monday I'll give it to you. How about that?
We'll arbitrate.
Unless it turns out that I was right all along, and it turns out he has actually resigned. He's going to show us his little machine, aren't you?
He's got a stash.
Yeah, but I'm not giving it to you. Yeah, look. I'm not giving it to you.
I don't want it. This
Credit card
isn't.
machines take money from mine.
But then you get it though, because it goes into.
Yeah, I'll give it to him though.
Oh, okay. Well, we can do it that way if you want. Should we do it?
Oh, I see. Well, I go and get my card.
No, I put my card
You
in
sit
there.
down. There you go.
No, I put my card in.
Yeah.
Does it take Amex?
It takes anything, mate.
Does it?
This is absolutely ridiculous.
All right, here you go.
But where's it going?
It goes into our account,
I'll pass it.
and then he gives
I
it to you.
see. Okay.
There we go, lovely.
Oh, he's paying up.
Yeah, good luck.
The thing is, then
There's nothing happening. It's not working.
Yeah, you're supposed to pretend, Mike.
Oh.
Oh, I see.
Sorry.
You got it?
I was actually ready to pay. All right, I'm pretending to pay now, but that's not the same. You see, that's unfair, because then she'll say I was just pretending. All right, it's not working. I'll bring you the 50
We'll
quid
do
next
the
week.
crisp 50,
All right.
and then actually we'll give it to charity.
Okay.
But I do think that the bet was the bet. 21st of June has been and gone.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't come as any great surprise, would it, that Starmer once again has let me down? You know,
Exactly.
I mean, there I was expecting him to save my bacon.
Would you not prefer him to stay on? Can we just know?
No, because I actually think
Do you not think the alternative is worse?
It is worse.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are two things going on here.
Yeah.
One, it's worse for us personally, but it's not worse for us on a show like this, which is going to be absolutely
Going to have fun with panda eyes.
With
What
old
is the panda eyes and the
Captain Black.
eyeliner and the mascara?
Yeah, there's something very odd about him. I used to describe him as he looks.
I know the difference here. Someone with eye makeup on and someone not. And I've always thought, what is with the panda eyes? And there's nothing wrong with it. I love eye makeup. But why does Andy Burnham wear it?
Does he wear makeup though?
Well, I don't
Do you
know,
think?
but he's got panda eyes.
I think he looks like a negative. You know, when you look at a negative image, the old film of that's Captain Black. Yeah, that's who he looks like.
Very, very dark. I mean, maybe he just has very dark eyelashes and eyes.
He's got very big eyebrows. I mean, somebody said to me the other day, it's like having Noel Gallagher running the country.
Yeah, massive.
You know.
Yeah.
But it's
not good music.
Yeah, not very
Yeah.
good. Yeah, don't look back in anger, or just don't look back.
Just
bugger
get
off,
out,
you know.
all of you.
Half a world away would be good. We could just keep making Oasis jokes. Anyway, so we think it's 8 o'clock. It's 7:35.
They think it's all over, Mike.
In 25 minutes, we could be from Starmer
Wouldn't that be amazing?
resigning.
Well, I'm about to cycle back, so I'm expecting that thing where all the cars start beeping their horns. You know, like when England win the World
absolutely.
Cup.
Absolutely.
And you realise the news just from the buildings and the joy.
If he's out there this morning, I'm popping the champagne. There's no question about that. It's got to be done because we've been waiting a long time for this.
Oh, yeah. Save me a bit.
And yeah, I will. It's just, it's incredible. But all those people as well, I just want to make one final point. All those people who said to me back in the summer of 2024, oh, this will never happen because there's no mechanism by which Labour gets rid of its leaders. And they're all wrong, and I'm right, again, I'm afraid. So I'm sorry that I haven't got £50 to give you, but I shall pledge it to you, and I will admit that I've lost the bet. But it's very, very close, isn't it?
And then give it to Armed Forces Week.
We actually could give it to Armed Forces Week because we're celebrating Armed Forces Week this week. So we're having
I know,
a lot of
yeah,
people
we
coming
served.
in.
Yeah,
so
lovely.
yeah, that'll be good. All right. So, Emma, great to see you. Thank you very
Thanks
much
for having
indeed. I'm £50 poorer now, thanks to Starmer.
No, you're not.
I mean, once Burnham gets in, I'll be £100 poorer probably because he'll just start taxing us some more, and that'll be the end of that. But anyway, enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy the heat wave. Oh.
Right, what's the betting? I'm not making bets with you, but what's the betting they cancel at my son's woke school?
Oh, yeah.
They cancel sports day tomorrow, 37 degrees, children can't run around in the heat. Sun cream, sun
Bottles
hats.
of water.
No,
the big one?
Lugging the water. I'm not sending him in with a bottle, I'm sending him in with a tank, literally, on his back.
He's going to bring it
Yeah,
over. Here
I
we
am.
go. There
Right,
we are.
that's bigger than
This is
Ludo.
it.
I'm
gonna
taking
take
him in
this.
with that.
You just take it with you on
Yeah,
the bike,
I will.
right? And just you look like somebody out of Bangkok.
Ludo will love it.
You know those guys with the they're balancing all the stuff on their heads. It'd be like that. This is it. Yeah,
That is the thing.
Yeah, be careful out there because it's very hot. I mean, really. I was saying to Pooch, I might end up coming in here to sleep because we've got air conditioning.
There's a cooler in the
I'll be
studio.
here, we can start the show at 5 in the morning. Anyway, listen, what we got next? So we've got some news with Peter Kyle's mate, Edward Hughes, who looks just like Peter Kyle, but is a lot cleverer.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Yeah.
And we'll be back after this.
Good morning, I'm Edward Hughes with your Monday Bulletin. Pressure is growing on Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Andy Burnham, the former mayor of Greater Manchester, won a decisive by-election in Makerfield, clearing the path for a potential leadership challenge. Starmer has said he will fight any contest, but speculation is mounting about his future, including comments from US President Donald Trump. A serious train collision near Bedford last Friday killed one driver and injured around 100 people, with 9 still in critical condition. Emergency services responded quickly, and investigations continue. An amber extreme heat warning is active for parts of England and Wales, with temperatures forecast to reach 35 to 38 degrees Celsius midweek. This could challenge June records and bring health and travel impacts. Yeah, like we need a warning to tell us it's hot. Remember to like and subscribe. Laters Tigers.
Welcome back to the Mike Graham Show. I am, of course, Mike Graham. We've got some great messages coming in, and lots of you obviously looking forward to the demise of Keir Starmer, which may or may not happen at 8 o'clock. We haven't actually had an update, I don't think, from anything. I've not seen anything on the old news channels or anything like that, but we will be carrying on. Cliff has sent me a message saying we need a pay-up alert. We've got a pay-up alert. Lord Alice Taylor's seen arriving at Andy Burnham's house, allegedly. There's a lot going on out there. And so, we're going to talk to Mark Littlewood in a moment about the whole idea of Starmer and what is happening. But we'll also get an update, because Mark Littlewood, of course, today is going to be back on the airwaves at midday, looking at what's going on in the World Cup in America and in Canada. And, of course, a preview, I guess, to the England game, which is tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be
Tuesday night, 9 o'clock.
Don't read that out.
Lots of people have said that Andy Burnham fits very well into that Keir Starmer song. Because it's got the same number of syllables in his name, which I suppose makes a bit of sense. Somebody's telling me my mic isn't working. Is that possible? Don't know. I don't think so. It's working all right, isn't it? Is it?
It's working fine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, well, again, you never know, do you, with all these different people who come in at different times. Because one of the things I've discovered, actually, I discovered this at the weekend, sometimes, and I think it's a YouTube issue, sometimes you put it on and it's really loud, and sometimes you put it on and it's really quiet. I was watching something, I think it was Friday when I was up in that lovely weekend trip we made to Swinford Manor, thanks to Dave, by the way, who had a lovely time putting us up and looking after us. So thank you for that. And we've got some news coming on that, haven't we? We might be doing a live show up there. Is it too early to say that?
No, we'll do it.
Swinford Manor, which is near Newmarket, it's a lovely part of the world, and it's a good part of the world because, one, it's not London, and so people can get to it who are not in London, because a lot of people say to us, when are you going to do a live show that's not in London? And it's quite a good place to do it from. So that's the first thing. But I've discovered that, depending on sort of, the temperature, what time of the day it is, YouTube was all over the place with volume. You can sometimes hear it really, really clearly, and other times not, So if you can't, I think we always say to people, if you can't hear properly, just refresh the page, and hopefully you'll be able to do that. We've got 13,000 people watching as far as I can see at the moment. And Mark Littlewood has just arrived as well. Well, 13,500 actually, which is great. So there's lots to do. Shall we play that little compilation of Starmer, which is in there just before we talk to Mark, which is sort of, I think you do need a Starmer alert, yeah. And we'll sort of chop it in half because it's quite long, but there's a few little clips of Starmer's best moments, or worst moments, whatever you like.
Is Keir Starmer going to resign tomorrow, or is it going to look a little bit like this? Of course, that's just a bit of AI fun there. But seriously, it has been an utter disaster, hasn't it? So, before you do go, Keir, should we have a little look at your best bits?
My dad was a tool maker. My dad was a tool maker. My dad was a tool maker. But when I grew up, my dad was a tool maker. He worked in a factory. It's true.
Did you know Keir's dad was a tool maker? He did indeed make a lot of tools for the country, didn't he? Starmer's also famous for being hashtag never hear Keir.
Have you lost control of your MPs, Prime Minister?
Hello. How are you?
Yes, he does love a trip, our Keir, doesn't he? So much so, a bit of a fag packet maths shows he has now travelled 70% of the way to the moon, spent 86 days, almost 3 months of his short reign abroad, and over 3 working weeks in the air. He's away so much, he started mimicking the cartoon character Roadrunner. Meep, indeed. And we do need an update on that ever-important hostage release.
Finally. We should have had the sausages. Never mind. We'll come back. We can always maybe play a bit more of it later on. We're hoping, fingers crossed, and the champagne's on ice currently, that Keir Starmer will be resigning at some point this morning. It could well be that happens at 8 o'clock, although there's no indications yet that is going to be the case. But certainly overnight, that was a suggestion that he might well be about to go this morning. Whether it's 8 o'clock, whether it's 9 o'clock, we shall keep our eyes on it, obviously, and bring it to you as soon as we possibly can. But Mark Littlewood, I'm delighted to say, is joining us. He's over there covering the World Cup for us in the beautiful island of Mallorca in Spain. You're looking very well, Mark, considering you're up most of the night watching football.
Yeah. Given I haven't slept for 12 days, I reckon I'm in pretty rude nick, Mike. Yeah.
Well, do you know, I tried a bit of that on Friday. It didn't go too well because I think I managed to get 1 hour's sleep before coming in to do the show at 6 o'clock. And we had to cancel Plank of the Week because I was too knackered. We had to go out in the evening. But it's been quite... We'll get back to the football in a minute. But I heard your dulcet tones this morning because they were reusing a clip of you from Times Radio about this madness of Keir Starmer. You know, on Friday, he was fighting. He wasn't going to give up without a fight. He was elected to, serve the people. And last week it was all about duty and service. And suddenly now he's got no friends left, and he's having to spend the rest of his days talking to Mrs. Starmer, who apparently is the only friend he's got left in the world.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And isn't it, Mike, just joyous that his departure looks like it's going to end with his final U-turn? As of Friday, he was going to fight any Labour leadership election. 3 days later, he's U-turned again. I don't know whether you've kept count now. Would that be the 20th and last U-turn?
I think we're up to about 24 or 25, to be honest. And my favourite tweet of all yesterday was from Piers Morgan, who said the final humiliation for Keir Starmer is that Donald Trump's announced his resignation before he has.
Yeah, that was just joyous from the Donald, wasn't it? And it also got Number 10 scrambling because, of course, as soon as Trump puts that up, everybody's phoning Number 10 Downing Street saying, well, the leader of the free world has said you're resigning. Is this right? Is this wrong? And crucially, then we're sort of saying, presumably, you've had a phone call with President Trump, indicating that you're about to step aside as a, might be the responsible thing to do as a NATO ally. But no, it turns out just Donald Trump's able to read the newspapers, basically. That's how he got it, and put the knife in rather wonderfully. I think he said, didn't he, President Trump, that Starmer's going, and it's because he failed on two big things.
Yes.
He failed on immigration, and he's failed on energy policy. And I did like Nigel Farage's retweet of President Trump saying the list is a lot longer than that.
Yes, it really is, because if you go back through the list, there is so much that he got wrong. I mean, Dan Hodges has written this morning in excoriating manner about how useless and awful this government has actually been. He says, leaving the country isolated, defenceless and virtually bankrupt. Because let's not forget, he told a load of lies about the money he was going to give to defence. He even lied to his own Secretary of State, John Healey, who's now resigned. He lied about stopping the boats and smashing the gangs. He lied about net zero. He talked about sort of reigniting the economy and creating growth. Didn't do any of that. I mean, there's literally nothing. I mean, I predicted with Emma Wolf a minute ago, he will get up and when he does finally resign and make his statement, he'll claim that he's brought waiting lists down, which of course he hasn't. He'll claim that he's reduced immigration, which technically is a little bit lower at the moment, but won't end up that way. All of the achievements that what's the betting that breakfast clubs get a mention at some point? It's really, it's a pretty thin gruel he's got out there, isn't it?
Yeah, I would have thought breakfast clubs will be top of the list, right? I mean, I think the media speculation was the podium will be outside Downing Street at 8 a.m.
Yes.
But I think it might end up being a bit later than that, Mike, because they can start his speech with, I've made a big decision, I've decided to resign as Prime Minister and hand over the baton. But they'll be scrabbling around to fill out the rest with his long list of achievements, right? I reckon they're sitting at number 10 Downing Street scratching their heads saying, well, we've got breakfast clubs. Can anybody think of anything else we've achieved in the last few years?
But,
so
but there are these, and you'll have seen them as I have, there are these kind of apologists for Labour who tend to be people that are expecting to get hired by the next government or something, as consultants inside Downing Street, who say, isn't it a pity that just as things are turning the corner, and you kind of go, sorry, what's turning the corner exactly? And this is one of the reasons why I think Andy Burnham, conceited as he is, will think, let's have an election because things are going to get a lot worse. The economy is going to get worse. Immigration problems are going to get worse. Crime is going to get worse. The instability of the streets is going to get worse. I mean, there was a guy stabbed at Speaker's Corner yesterday. I mean, there's an awful lot of nastiness going on. And I think Burnham will quite fancy the idea of having a quick election to see whether he can beat reform once and for all.
Yeah, you might be right. There's a lot of interesting speculation about this. And given that Burnham's only agenda is hope, motherhood and apple pie, I can't actually detect a single particular policy that is sketched out, right? He hasn't put on the table how we might get the welfare budget down or how he's going to find the money for defence or how he's actually going to get immigration. You're right that that's fallen, but it's fallen from absolutely bloody disastrous to critically bad, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's still a disastrous problem. No specifics from Burnham. So you're right. Maybe that is on his mind. Against that, he will inherit a majority of 160. So it's unusual to cut and run early if you've got a colossal majority. It's not as if in the House of Commons, I mean, they're hugely unpopular in the country, but in the House of Commons, they've got more than a working majority. So I think Burnham would need to be confident that he would win, not necessarily with the same majority, but that he'd get back with a majority of, 50 or 60 or so. That would probably be a 5 or 6% lead in the opinion polls over reform over the summer. Then he might pull the trigger. But he would look a right muppet if he walks in, inherits a majority of 150, 160, pulls the trigger and Labour lose their majority, right? And the other thing is, I think Burnham, in his own head, thinks that just talking about hopey, changey stuff will be enough to lift the national mood and turn the economy round. So I think that's delusional, but in Andy Burnham's mind, he thinks it might work.
Yeah, well, one of the narratives that we're hearing a lot of at the moment is one of the things that Starmer got wrong was telling people things were going to get a lot worse before they got better. And apparently people don't like to hear that. They much prefer to have a happy, clappy bloke singing Kumbaya with his guitar and his round neck, T-shirt on, saying everything, everything's going to be fine. Well, I'm sorry, I think we're a bit past that point now, aren't we? Because people are feeling it in their pockets. People are feeling that they haven't got any money to spend. Kelvin McKenzie returns to this place in, I think tomorrow he's going to be on, and he was saying that he's been away, I think it was in Crete, and there's like hardly any tourism at the moment because people just aren't going on holiday. They can't afford to. I don't know what it's like in Mallorca where you are, but same with me when I was in Cyprus. It was deserted.
Yes, I'd say fewer Brits here than normal. I've been coming here for about 20 years, Mike, and it's noticeable that some years ago the English would massively outnumber any other nationality, but now we're just another cluster of us mixed in with the Swedes, the Dutch, the Germans, and the rest. And this is really the big failure. Look, I don't think you should come out and say that things are going to get worse before they get better. But I think you can come out and say, here's the tough medicine we're going to administer to deal with the problems.
Yeah.
The medicine might not go down perfectly, but let me explain to you how and why this medicine will work. But after a reasonable period of time, you've got to make sure that people are better off. Quite a lot of Labour politicians have said, well, one of our big problems is people don't feel better off.
No.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you why they don't feel better off. Because they ain't better off, right?
Exactly.
People are quite good at feeling exactly as they are when it comes to their income, their wealth, and their confidence, which is crucial as well. I mean, business confidence is on the floor. Businesses are not saying, well, it's been a choppy couple of years, but the next 12 months look terrific. They're saying it's been a choppy couple of years, and if anything, the next 12 months look even worse. So ultimately, look, there's a million issues in politics always, Mike. But ultimately, the big test for the government is, and for a prime minister, is when your tenure comes to an end, have you made people richer or not? And in the case of this, the last few hours, it looks like, of the Starmer administration, the answer is no. I mean, you've done okay if you're on welfare benefits. You've done okay if you're a trade unionist working in the public sector. But overall, that's not a majority of the electorate. The overwhelming bulk who are working in the private sector are sick to the back teeth and feel that things have got worse for them over the last couple of years. That's why Labour has tanked in the opinion polls. And ultimately, that's why Starmer is having to go.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I can't remember ever doing a week's worth of shows where there wasn't some kind of crisis. I mean, you might remember, I think it was January, when Keir Starmer came out and Rachel Reeves as well came out and said, you're going to start feeling more better off by in about a couple of months' time. And now, of course, they say, oh, yeah, but then we had the Iran war. So that obviously meant that we were out, we couldn't control that. But no, the fact is that they keep promising things that don't happen. And the opposite thing happens. And I'm just looking this morning, the pound has apparently fallen to a fresh 2-month low as Andy Burnham prepares to return to Parliament. And Keir Starmer's on the brink of resignation. Sterling slips as much as 0.4% against the dollar to 131 overnight. So, I mean, there's no nice news out there. This, the imposition, if you like, of Andy Burnham onto the British public has not exactly got the markets excited, has it?
No, there you go. And if the pound's fallen, Mike, those who've already booked their holidays are going to find it more expensive to buy a meal out or a pint of beer or some tourist merch when they're abroad because the pound will stretch less far against foreign currencies. The real one I'm watching, and there's an awful lot of speculation about the Burnham cabinet, is will our borrowing rates go up yet again? What the markets are looking for from Andy Burnham, who famously said he doesn't want to be in hock to the bond markets, is he going to be serious about getting spending, debt and deficit under control? And so far, he's been relatively unserious about that. He said that he would stick to the so-called fiscal rules. This basically amounts to a pledge to make sure that the total national debt is falling after a 5-year cycle. But when pressed on it, he didn't seem very clear what the fiscal rules were. And if there's speculation...
I don't think he knows what the fiscal rules are, does he?
I don't think he does know what the fiscal rules are. He just sort of went along with them. Oh, yes, we'll be very cautious. Again, it's this motherhood and apple pie approach without any great specificity from him. So if there's rumours that he might appoint a lefty like Ed Miliband as Chancellor, the markets will get very, very spooked indeed. Look, I don't begrudge you popping open the champagne in a few minutes, Mike, or in an hour or two, as and when it's confirmed that Starmer has resigned. But be a bit careful, because after a few months of Andy Burnham, I think fewer and fewer of us might be able to afford a bottle of champagne,
Well, no,
right?
but listen,
so it might be a laugh for a while.
I take your point, and I don't think that Burnham's going to be any better. I absolutely don't. But I'm just glad to see that we still have a system in place whereby if you make a complete rick of being Prime Minister, you get kicked out. I see that complete moron Mike Tapp came out yesterday and suggested that we should have a new law passed, which would mean that you have to have a general election if you change your leader, as then the Prime Minister has to switch over, because he thinks that will be a measurement to stop it happening, right? But I mean, one of the things I'm looking forward to is Mike Tapp being booted out of his job when the new broom comes in, because he, like Rachel Reeves and all the other Muppets, will be gone.
Yeah, but firstly, it's worth pointing out, Mike, that 5 of our last 7 prime ministers, and it looks like it's about to become, I think, 6, if Andy Burnham comes in, 6 of our 8 last prime ministers have all come to power without a general election.
Yeah.
They all came in midterm. Gordon Brown came in midterm. Cameron won an election. But then the next Tory leaders, Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak, all came in without an election.
Yeah.
Starmer with an election, Burnham without. So it's more common than not that you actually accede to the position of Prime Minister, not on a public vote, but on an internal party vote. You might go on and win a public vote, but oftentimes you get there without having won a general election. And here is the problem with Mike Tapp's approach, right? That he thinks that this law, that there'd have to be a general election if the Prime Minister changed, would only apply in order to stop internal party coups. But imagine, for example, that the Prime Minister's doing pretty well, but has chronically ill health, is literally dying of some illness.
Right.
If we brought in the Mike Tapp rule, the party would just be trying to keep him on life support, to sort of wheel him out, like Leonid Brezhnev in the 1970s, who'd been sort of clinically dead, basically, for 12 months before he actually passed away. So it's ludicrous that you could.
Did they not have to do that with Roosevelt at one point as well? Where he was like literally confined to a wheelchair, but they wouldn't ever take him anywhere in public because they didn't want anyone to know that he was confined to a wheelchair. I actually read a really interesting stat. I can't remember precisely what it is, but I think it was something that Wilson and Major are literally the only 2 prime ministers who have won an election and then lost an election and ceased to be prime minister.
I think it's Edward Heath and Major. So Heath won the election of 1970, but then served a full term and then was defeated in 1974. John Major won the 92 election, served a full term, was defeated in 1997. But no prime minister has been elected with a majority, served a full term, and then been booted out by the public.
Which is an extraordinary stat, isn't it?
To kick out our prime ministers, basically.
That is an extraordinary stat. And so, I mean, as far as the rest of, I mean, the thing that slightly worries me as well about Andy Burnham is that he seems to have adopted Louise Haigh as his main advisor, who seems to be the person who's kind of not necessarily picking the cabinet that's going to serve under him, but is certainly quite, shall we say, important in the process that's going on. And she's kind of sounding people out, it seems, as to whether or not they fancy being Chancellor or what. I mean, Miliband now seems to be getting further away from number 11 Downing Street. So what's your best bet on who becomes the next Chancellor?
I would have thought it's probably going to be Wes Streeting. Because
that again worries me.
Yeah, well, I mean, blimey, Mike, are you expecting me to find you a decent cabinet from the present Labour Party benches? I'm good, but I'm not a miracle worker.
It would be good. I mean, you might be better off finding the guy that runs the till at the sports bar you're running to run the economy. He probably knows more about it than Wes Streeting does. You know what I mean?
I can strongly recommend him. I've met a good number of bar managers and waiters here who know how to add up. So perhaps I should submit that list of names to dear Louise as soon as possible. Wes Streeting will have some bargaining power, however, probably modest bargaining power. But I think the Burnham team have reached the conclusion they want a coronation, not a contest. So we don't really know whether Wes Streeting has got the 81 Labour MPs you need to get your name on the ballot. But I think there might be an attempt to sort of buy him off and sort of say, look, let's not go through a painful process. So anyone who is at or about that 81 figure, I think is in a good position to ask for a decent position in the cabinet. The other one, this is an intriguing one, is Foreign Secretary, right? Because all of the evidence is that Andy Burnham doesn't really give much of a stuff about foreign affairs, that his overall focus is going to be colossally on domestic issues. He hasn't really said anything at all on foreign affairs. Okay, fair enough. He's been the mayor of Manchester, so he hasn't really needed a foreign policy.
Right.
But is he actually going to basically delegate all foreign affairs to a senior figure that he trusts? Who could that be? That seems to me a really big appointment, not because foreign affairs is necessarily something which is always high profile in British politics. It's got a big diplomatic element to it rather than a political element. But is Burnham going to want to spend his time jetting off around the world to avoid scrutiny in the UK? Or is he going to want to spend his time almost exclusively in the UK trying to fix the enormous mess that Britain's found itself in? If the latter, he's going to need an extraordinarily strong and respected foreign secretary.
Yes.
Any clues on who that might be? I mean, again, Mike, I think there's a few bar managers and waiters here in New York.
This is where you end up, and the answer to a lot of these questions is Pat McFadden, because he kind of looks like he's senior. He looks a bit older. He doesn't look like he's just literally got out of school. And I think part of the problem for Starmer, when he was appointing the foreign secretary, he wanted to do it himself because that was his kind of métier, wasn't it? He was like, I'm going to be the one that goes to all these G7 meetings. I'll be going to meet all these people like Zelensky and Trump and Maloney and all the rest of it. And so I think he then therefore appointed Lammy because he knew that wouldn't get in the way. And then he ended up with Yvette Cooper, who also doesn't really get in the way either. You don't even know she's there. She's like that speck that used to be Dan Quayle in Doonesbury, And I wonder as well whether Burnham doesn't want that because he's not that kind of guy. He's handy Andy from round the corner. He only cares about Britain. He doesn't really care about the world's economy or the world's leaders. Can you imagine him meeting Trump? Remember what Trump's going to make of him?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm well up for the banter that's going to ensue. I mean, the Burnham-Trump relationship, I think, could be even more awkward than the Starmer-Trump relationship.
Yeah.
Just on the foreign secretary thing, how's this for a tip? He asks David Miliband to return from New York, puts David Miliband in the House of Lords, and makes David Miliband foreign secretary. That might be a smartish move.
That would be worth doing just to see the look on his brother's face. Who'd be going, what? I thought I got rid of this bloke ages ago, but very funny. Anyway, listen, you're about to enter your second week, unlike Keir Starmer, in the summertime. Now that summer's here, he's gone. You're about to enter your second week as the host of World Cupper. How have you enjoyed it? How's it all going?
Oh, it's been brilliant. I mean, the tournament's been great, and more than a few upsets. We were sort of looking down our nose at some of the minnows, like the Cape Verde Islands, Mike. The Cape Verde Islands are undefeated going into their last match. Curaçao have pulled off a brilliant 0-0 draw. So it's terrific. Some of the minnows are doing brilliantly well. It's been quite a weekend as well. We've had 3 teams have now definitely secured their position in the next round. That's Germany, Mexico and the USA. Mexico and the USA, of course, hosting the tournament with Canada. Looks like Canada will make it as well. And alongside eliminated over the course of the weekend, Mike, is not just Keir Starmer. Haiti, Turkey and Tunisia have all been knocked out. So it's been a great tournament to follow. Some of the groups are really hanging by a thread. Scotland lost at the tail end of last week, but they still seem well positioned to make it through to the later stages, given however other results have gone. We've got some great guests coming up this week. I'm talking to an Arsenal businessman and ultra fan on the show today. And Sophie Corcoran, of course, I think has appeared on your show a few times. Who doesn't only know a thing about football, she actually plays football.
She's quite good,
She's played as a striker and as a defender for the Leyton Orient women's team. Later on in the week, we've got a whole bunch of ex-footballers who are going to be able to give us our take on it. We've got Gordon Smith, Rangers legend. Dean Windass will be joining us tomorrow. He famously scored a goal in the playoff final for Hull City back in the day that got them promoted. And history repeats itself. That's just happened to him again. And then I think it's on Thursday, we've got my hero, the legend Matt Letizia, Southampton's all-time best player, and probably, I'm going to argue, the best player in the world never to have gone to a World Cup, even better than George Best, in my view. So a whole range of different aspects coming at you in the World Cupper. And on today's show, we've got some fantastic clips of the mad celebrations from all over the world. And it's just a joy in football that securing, say, a 0-0 draw can still lead to people marching in the streets, hugging, drinking, and having the best of times. So far, the competition's gone great, and I think my show's got even better, Mike.
Yes, no, it's been absolutely brilliant. It's been a very welcome addition to our little roster here. And I'm looking forward to what the week brings. And then at the end of the week, at the weekend, it goes down to 32 teams from 48. So is it one from each group that goes? Plus the
No, it's way more complicated than that. This appeals to a kind of nerdy economist like me, Mike. Right? So you've got 12 groups. Each have got 4 teams in them. They all play each other, so everybody plays 3 games. At the end of that, the top 2 from each group go through automatically.
Yes.
That's 24 teams who progress.
Right.
But you also pick 8 of the 12 best placed teams in third. So all of these matches, the vast bulk of the games, I think it's about 2/3 of the games of this group stage in round 1, is only going to eliminate 16 teams in total. Now, you still want to finish as high as possible in your group, because the higher you finish, the weaker your opposition in the subsequent rounds. But you're right. As of the weekend, we move into the sudden death phase where, any error, any mistake, missing a penalty suddenly becomes you're out of the tournament. So from the knockout round of 32, it's win or go home. Whereas at the moment, for those who've only played one match, there's still a margin for error. This is the last week with a margin of error, and then it's sudden death come the weekend.
Sounds brilliant. Well, Mark, you're doing a great job. Thank you very much indeed. And say hi to Gordon Smith. I think I gave him a show once when I used to run a station in Scotland. He's a top man. Very good to see you. Mark Littlewood there reporting in from Mallorca, where he's watching the World Cup. Very sensible move that, by the way, that he did. And he's doing a fantastic job. He's with us from 12 o'clock. 10 o'clock this morning, Russell Quirk will be here as well with his great show, The Quirk Report. It is the Quirk Report, isn't it? Yeah. And coming up next, we're going to talk to David Maddox from The Independent. He's got plenty to say, I'm sure, about the latest machinations in Downing Street. First, though, some news with Edward Hughes.
Good morning, I'm Edward Hughes with your Monday Bulletin. Pressure is growing on Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Andy Burnham, the former mayor of Greater Manchester, won a decisive by-election in Makerfield, clearing the path for a potential leadership challenge. Starmer has said he will fight any contest, but speculation is mounting about his future, including comments from US President Donald Trump. A serious train collision near Bedford last Friday killed 1 driver and injured around 100 people, with 9 still in critical condition. Emergency services responded quickly, and investigations continue. An amber extreme heat warning is active for parts of England and Wales, with temperatures forecast to reach 35 to 38 degrees Celsius midweek. This could challenge June records and bring health and travel impacts. Yeah, like we need a warning to tell us it's hot. Remember to like and subscribe. Laters Tigers.
Oh, Edward Hughes with the news there. Thank you very much indeed. It is going to be very hot, but as we said, I'm all right because I've got my water jug with me that I'll take the tube everywhere I go, just in case I don't want to have a hydration break. The world's gone mad. Anyway, listen, David Maddox is here, former Daily Express, now political editor of The Independent, of course. It says former cook here as well on your Twitter account. I didn't know that. I like you even more now. Now, listen, I'm hoping that you're going to give us the update that we're all looking for, because when I joined the show this morning at 7, I was working on the principle that there'll be some kind of announcement today from Starmer of some description, possibly at 8 o'clock, which obviously hasn't happened. What are you hearing?
Yeah, well, it's clearly not 8 o'clock now, so it's not going to happen at 8. We're past that, but we've been hearing all weekend that it was going to be today. My guess would be some point this morning before Andy Burnham arrives on a train from Manchester.
Yeah.
So there were they weren't talking directly to one another, but I think there was some discussions going ahead about whether there'd be some sort of handover in September, which seems unlikely to me. I think it'd be much sooner than that. Yeah. But it kind of depends on if there's a contest or not, because I know that there are also discussions taking place with Wes Streeting in particular to try and persuade him not to stand in the leadership contest and just let Andy Burnham sort of pick up the crown and stick it on his own head.
Yes, because I think a lot of people, David, are concerned about exactly how this would work, because one of the things that everyone knows about so-called, progression and sort of smooth handovers and all of that, and a transition and all of that, is that once you've announced that you're going, that all goes out the window because there's no such thing really as a smooth transition. Everybody that's working for you in the cabinet now sees you as a busted flush. Everybody around the world, as we saw at the G7, pays no attention to you because you're not going to be there for much longer. So it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know how it could work, but if Starmer walks out onto the street this morning and says, you know, I'm going to leave in September, I mean, he might as well just walk out now, mightn't he?
Well, exactly. Although, I mean, I was about to say he loses all authority, but I'm not sure he has much left to lose anyway. Frankly.
No.
But it's like, but yes, I mean, it just becomes a joke. PMQs each week becomes a joke. Everything becomes a joke. You can't make an announcement. Everybody shrugs their shoulders and say, "Oh well, yeah, but we'll just wait for the next prime minister to come along." He can't push any serious votes in the Commons. I think we're effectively governless for 3 months. In fact, I was texted yesterday by one Labour MP who was getting very annoyed about this September handover idea because he said, you know, we've effectively not had a government for 5 months, and now they're asking us to have no government for another 3 months. He said, you know, he says my party, you know, Labour have got to learn how to handle power and be in power. It's ridiculous. So, you know, I mean, I remember way back David Cameron thinking that he would have a long run in from resigning. And, you know, as soon as it was obvious it was Theresa May who was going to take over, that was it. He was out. Boom. Thank you very much. Next. You know, and the same with her when Boris was selected as a successor, you know, and so on. It just it always seems fairly swift and brutal.
Well, it is, and I mean, I guess the big question will be not only whether there's a room for manoeuvre for Starmer. I don't think there is. I think he pretty much has to say it today. I mean, is there any possibility, for example, that David Lammy, as Deputy Prime Minister, somehow has to step in for a period of time because Andy Burnham doesn't fancy going in before he's ready?
I mean, it's nothing's impossible, but that seems a real stretch. To be frank, I mean, Andy Burnham's there, and if he wants it, he's going to have to take it. Basically, I mean, I think of kind of ranking all the options on disaster level. David Lammy stepping in as temporary prime minister for a few months would be probably the worst idea of them all. And again, I just don't think anybody would accept it, really. So, you know, we have to have a proper functioning government in the end. And this one isn't at the moment with Keir Starmer. No. And that means that they need his permanent successor in place as soon as possible.
I mean, it hasn't been a functioning government really for quite a long time.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I mean, I would argue, I mean, that Labour MP said to me 5 months. I would actually argue it goes back almost a year to that welfare rebellion. Once that welfare rebellion had happened, it completely lost his way. It was completely unable to manage his party, was struggling to get anything through. He didn't dare make a decision for fear that it was going to get embarrassed or humiliated, which is, of course, how he ended up in that complete mess on the defence investment plan. And then, you know, we had all the Mandelson stuff, which, you know, his authority was already shot, and then his moral integrity, which he'd, you know, spent so much time telling us he had, was also completely shot. So, you know, it's been over for a long, long time. I've been telling people we haven't had a government now for most of this year, and if not longer.
Yeah. I mean, isn't it interesting that in a way, Keir Starmer's sort of premiership has been summed up by the final days of it in a way, because as late as last night, we were being told that, you know, he can't really decide what he wants to do. You know, even now he wants to sort of have a summit meeting with his wife to decide what it is that he wants to, you know, it's almost like he's paralysed by indecision right up to the very end. Because, I mean, only on Friday, he was saying on Friday he's going to fight on.
I think you've absolutely nailed it there, because I think of all the problems that Keir Starmer has, you know, whether it's issues over his integrity, whether it's the fact that everybody hates him in the polls, you know, he has no charisma, no, you know, no empathy with people. All these are problems, but his biggest problem as a leader, the one thing you want as a leader, is somebody who is able to make decisions and be decisive. And I actually got a kind of small tale on that. I mean, I was at an event a couple of weekends ago where I heard historian on the SAS stuff give a brief talk, and she was talking about Operation Certain Death in Sierra Leone when Tony Blair was Prime Minister. It was called Operation Certain Death because when they sent the SAS in, they thought at least half of them were going to get killed. But Tony Blair was able to make that decision quickly and stick by it, and was ready to suffer the consequences if it had been. As it happens, only one person was killed in fight. One SAS person was killed in fighting. Killed a lot of Sierra Leoneans, but. But that's the point. Can you imagine Keir Starmer in that situation? You know, he'd have farmed it out to Lord Hermer, would have been sitting at his desk for months, and his inability to make decisions, really important, difficult decisions, has been his greatest failure.
And isn't it fascinating how he now kind of supposedly is feeling betrayed? There was a piece that came out last night in which a Labour source said he feels like he gave everything to Labour, including sacrificing much of his children's teenage years to help make the party electable. He feels deeply betrayed, especially by those he believed were loyal to him. You know, has he never read any political books? Does he not know anything about politics? You know, people are not very loyal. They're loyal until they're not. It's as simple as that. You know, get over it.
Well, he will be the sixth Prime Minister to go since the European Union referendum result was announced. So that'll be six Prime Ministers in just under 10 years. And I can tell you, every single one of them felt betrayed, and every single one of them had to go because of their own personal failings and inability to govern and the inability to lead. And he'll feel bitter, all right, but in the end, it all comes down to the judgments he made. As I said, failure to be able to make decisions. The fact that he was so fond of trying to blame other people. There's never been a Prime Minister who sacked senior civil servants in a way that Keir Starmer has to try and save his skin. I said this for a while, and everybody uses nice words and fluffy words and say, well, you're a decent chap, blah, blah, blah. I just don't think any of this counts. I think he's been one of the worst Prime Ministers we've ever had, certainly in my working life and my lifetime. He is far from the two great Prime Ministers we've had in my lifetime, Margaret Thatcher and Tony Blair.
Yeah.
And, his premiership will go down as a catastrophic failure. Not least because he was given a massive, massive majority back in July 2024, and he's completely squandered it.
No, he has completely. And also, I always sort of push back on these suggestions that he's a lovely man and he's a nice guy and all this, because he clearly isn't actually any of those things. One of the reasons he's so unpopular in Westminster is that he didn't spend any time kind of schmoozing the MPs, the backbenchers, who he supposedly needed to get his bills through, particularly the welfare bill, as you say. Remember, he was seen, apparently unusually, sort of glad-handing people in the Commons tea room, and people were going, we never see him in here. He's never here. He's now suddenly turned up because he needs something from us. But actually, people didn't feel in any way connected to him, even in his own party. And he was pretty brutal, I think, towards some of the people who he got rid of, like Sue Gray, even Morgan McSweeney, because it was all his own fault, but he didn't want to admit it.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's gone through 3 cabinet secretaries as well, and 4 directors of communication. I lost count at one point. One of them were very good. Well, actually, one of them was very good, and somehow he managed to kick her out the door as well. I mean, it's it's just bizarre. The whole thing has been. And no, you're right. But he hasn't even schmoozed his own ministers. No. The number of ministers who complained to me that the only person who was ever sort of invited for a private cup of tea with him in his Downing Street flat was Lord Hermer.
Yeah,
it kind of
funnily enough
sums it up. He doesn't seem to have had close relationships with anybody. And, whatever you think about Andy Burnham or even Wes Streeting, and there's certainly lots to criticise them about, but both of them can at least show empathy, can at least reach out to people, can actually at least, I mean, you saw last week, at least get people to want to vote for them.
Yes.
And, as Andy Burnham did, and communicate. It's like, the art of communication seems to be quite important in politics. But
this is it. And he doesn't have that
memo.
Yeah. And he doesn't have the skill of the communicator, and he doesn't seem to understand politics. And somebody said, I was watching them last night, he doesn't really understand Britain. He doesn't really know what makes people tick. He doesn't know what people care about, because he's so far removed from the ordinary people of Britain, because he's been living in this kind of, human rights lawyer world for so long, that his first kind of instinct is to reach for some law. And if there isn't a law to tell him how to behave, he makes one up, even going all the way back to trying to identify what a woman is. Suddenly he wasn't sure until the Supreme Court told him. And then he went, oh, okay, now I can tell you what a woman is, because the law has told me what it is. It's insane. I've got a little clip. I don't know if we can play the Jackie Smith clip, Pooch, which just went in there. She's admitted this morning, and I think it's the first time we've got somebody official saying it, that Starmer is in fact resigning.
We're waking up this Monday morning with growth in the economy, with our waiting lists, our net migration, our food inflation
So
down.
why get rid of him then?
Well, that's not a question for me to answer. I would have been very happy for him to continue, but he understands, and we can all see the pressure that is being brought upon him, the challenges that are around, and that's what he's been giving thought to over the course of the weekend.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's the first kind of official confirmation, I suppose. Peter Carl yesterday went sort of nearly 3/4 of the way there, but, this is going to be the mantra, isn't it, of this kind of Starmer. He's going to say, that we've turned the corner on the economy, which they haven't. He's going to say they've reduced waiting lists, which they haven't. I mean, we know what they've done there. He's going to say that immigration's down, which it might be slightly, but we just found out this morning that Shabana Mahmood is having to rewrite the whole one in, one out deal, because there's people coming here who've been kicked out of the country, coming back in on lorries. The whole thing's a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually very little achievement to point to. And the problem is where he has achieved things. I mean, they keep on talking about stabilising the economy, and yet the cost of living's rising. People are not feeling it in their pockets. Nobody would say, if is the economy working for you? Hardly anybody would say yes. And and in fact, he came in, him and Rachel Reeves, promising massive economic growth. It was going to be their first mission, their top priority. It's barely, there's barely been a flicker of it. And the problem is, as you say, is he doesn't see a court that isn't his decision maker for him. He can't whether it's international or domestic. He wants to wait for that. I've often wondered actually why he didn't make more of his. I mean, I know he used to go on about his father being a toolmaker and all this sort of business, but there was no sense of, and this is why he got mocked for that. There was no sense of him kind of really embracing his working class background, understanding, as you say, what the country wanted and felt. It was always the kind of technocrat lawyer, very cold, very purposeful, but no, there was never any warmth or feeling for the country, he serves.
No. Well, this is the thing. As I said, he has no kind of connection to the people. He doesn't understand people who want to fly the England flag. He thinks there's something wrong with it. He thinks there's something wrong with people who are concerned about the safety of their kids on the streets of Britain, worried about more and more immigration in their neighbourhoods. He doesn't get any of it. He just doesn't understand it. And he's genuinely puzzled by it, which makes him about the most unprepared Prime Minister, I think, in the history of Downing Street.
I mean, everybody goes back to Liz Truss. I mean, again, whatever you think about Liz Truss, and I don't think she was much cop at the job, I have to say. I mean, obviously she was out in 49 days. But at least
she did a lot less damage to the economy.
Well, this is my point. At least she kind of put her hands up and says, "Do you know, I can't do this. I'm going I'm going to move over for somebody else in less than 50 days, and at least had the honesty to do that.
Right.
Whereas this guy has just clung on. I mean, he was clinging on right into the weekend until it was becoming pretty bloody obvious that he had to go.
Yeah. Yeah, except to him, of course. He was the one person who didn't see it, but now he does. So what's your best bet then, as far as timings go? We're told that Downing Street still hasn't actually revealed a time. Well, how does it normally play with you? Do you normally get a nod from somebody in the press office to say, be down here at 3 o'clock or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. We normally get a kind of WhatsApp message or something. I haven't. I'm just checking my phone actually, but I haven't had anything yet because it's my guess was always going to be mid to late morning. All that 8 a.m. nonsense. I mean,
well, the idea is that he does it before Burnham gets to Euston, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Right.
Burnham's photo opportunity is at 3 o'clock, and it's been interesting because it's normal for Labour MPs to be invited to come and join the by-election winner, but I was being told yesterday that the invitation went out at least 3 times to MPs to remind them they had to be there, and which is not normal. And it's clear that somebody was saying to me, the coronation's about to begin.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, it all started by Tony Blair when he had everybody lining up Downing Street and everyone thought they were just punters, and it turned out they all worked for the Labour Party, but there we are.
Yeah,
great to see you. Thank you. David Maddox there from The Independent telling us that so far we still don't have a time for Keir Starmer to put out put himself out of his own misery, if you like, by announcing that he's going. We expect it to be at some point this morning. He's only got about another hour or so an hour and a half before this show ends, so he might. I mean, when I used to do the mid-morning show, more people resigned during that than ever at any time. So we'll see whether or not that turns out to be the case. But should we do a little meltdown, Pooch, in the meantime?
Very, very good idea.
While we wait for Gawain Towler from Reform, who's going to come on and talk to us from their point of view. But, I mean, it's an unusual time to do a meltdown, but let's do it. And there can only be one subject this morning, can't there? It can only be the dreadful state of our government, the dreadful state of our country, the dreadful state of our cabinet, and the dreadful state of the man currently occupying Downing Street. Because even as I speak, many of you will be watching this later on today, and the man occupying Downing Street might be occupying it still in sort of physical form, but not actually really in charge, because we've heard that phrase before, haven't we, many times. A government in position, but not actually in charge of anything, not in power. And this government has not been in power for a very long time. You might cast your mind back to the beginning of what was the Labour sort of revolution back on July the 4th of 2024, when literally within about 24 hours of the government being appointed and winning the election against the Tories, suddenly they were embroiled in all sorts of sleaze. It turned out that Lord Ali was buying suits and ties and glasses for the Prime Minister. He was also kitting out his wife, Vic, who was getting some free clothes and free clobber and free shoes. They were getting free tickets to Taylor Swift. They were getting the use of a free penthouse. Starmer even pretended that it was his office at one point. And it turned out that all this talk of transparency, all this talk of a new beginning and, accountability and service was all just a load of old rubbish. Keir Starmer already had made it clear that he wasn't ready to run the country. He said just before the election, the day before the election, he said, we are ready. We have got every single department raring to go, because they were expected to win it. It wasn't a great big surprise when they did, because an awful lot of media companies were backing them and saying we've had enough of the Tories, and that was fair enough because the Tories were completely useless by the end. But at the end of the day, we ended up with a Prime Minister who was simply not good enough to do the job. And it's that simple. He could not do it. He couldn't organise himself. He couldn't surround himself with the right people. He made bad decisions from the beginning. Look at what happened in Southport, when he went to Southport after those terrible murders, and he spent 19 seconds up there. Instead of talking to the people who were grieving, he just left and went back to London and had a party. The man is completely and utterly unsuitable to be Prime Minister. He's completely and utterly unsuitable to be any kind of politician, actually, because he doesn't, as I said before, he doesn't understand Britain. He doesn't understand the British people. He doesn't understand what makes people tick. He doesn't understand what people are proud of. He doesn't understand that people like to put flowers out in their street. They like to wave flags when there's a World Cup going on. They enjoy being proud to be British. Right now, with him in charge, there hasn't been much to be proud of. They've screwed up immigration, as Donald Trump said. They've messed around with net zero. We're still not drilling in the North Sea, even though we've got great resources there that we could use to power the economy. The economy has died a death. Growth has completely disappeared. I said at the weekend, the housing market has been crushed thanks to Rachel Reeves and her inability to understand economics. She brought in a huge stamp duty bill, which meant that if anyone wants to buy a house, they have to give the government a bucket load of money in tax, which they don't want to do. So guess what? They're not buying houses. People are simply not moving, so the market's dead. People are sick to death of paying through the nose for more expensive food, more expensive fuel, more expensive cars. Everything costs more money. Everything is much more difficult. The crime is off the scale. Like I said, there was another stabbing at the weekend, probably more than one, but one that we know of at Speaker's Corner. People are at each other's throats. They're rowing with each other all the time, constantly, about politics, about immigration, about crime. I spoke to the guy that runs the local petrol station near me. His place was invaded by a couple of homeless people just last night. Came in, nicked a load of stuff, ran out, smashed the door in plain view. I said, what about the police? He said, they never came. Police didn't turn up. And this guy was like, well, I don't know what we're supposed to do. I can't keep the door locked all the time. But when I locked it, they broke in anyway. People are getting phones stolen. People are getting cars stolen. People are getting things stolen from them all the time. Andy Burnham isn't really the answer, is he? I'd be very interested to know what he plans to do to bring Britain back, because Britain is in the doldrums. There is no question about that. And what Andy Burnham needs to do, if he wants to make a name for himself, is to promote growth. Is to get people spending money again. To get jobs being created again. Not being killed off because of taxes, because of national insurance, because of the rise in minimum wages. Dan Hodges, as I've said many times before, writing in the Mail today, has gone full anti-Starmer after starting off as one of his biggest fans. He leaves our country isolated, defenceless and virtually bankrupt, says Dan. He says, in years to come, the history books will not look kindly on Sir Keir. His allies are attempting to frame him as a sober, serious man who tried heroically but unsuccessfully to guide Britain through the age of Trump and Putin and the AI revolution. But his allies are wrong, says Hodges. From start to finish, his premiership has been an unprecedented, unmitigated catastrophe. And the longer we can all remember that, the better off Britain will be. And so what Labour would like to do is replace him with a bloke who has not been in Parliament for nearly 10 years, who thinks because he won a by-election in Makerfield, which was only really a victory because of the fact that people wanted to get Starmer out, that he now can probably run a general election campaign and win. I look forward to that because I think if he does, he'll get a bit of a surprise, because I think reform will come for him. So here's my message to Keir Starmer. Goodbye, good riddance. Don't let the door hit you on the backside on the way out.
And just try and whack it. Yes, this is good. And again. That's it. And again. Try and breathe. Relax. That's it. What a pair of gloves.
I mean, what can you say? Absolutely and utterly pathetic. I mean, that whole sequence of film of Starmer punching the punch bag with such uselessness kind of sums him up, doesn't it? I mean, who thought that was a good thing to do? And who would have put it out as a piece of, media? Hopeless. Anyway, let's talk to Gawain Towler, who's with us now from Reform. Gawain, very good morning to you.
Morning.
So, it happened in the end. I've been saying this for a while, as you probably remember. I've been predicting it since about August of 2024. It's taken a while to get here, but we got there in the end.
Well, I suppose we have. I mean, and I think what was very interesting about Makerfield is twice in a month there were elections there, and the message from both winning election camps was get Starmer out.
Yeah.
It's just a shame it wasn't us this time.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, we'll talk about reform in a minute, but I mean, how do you see this playing out? Because obviously there are forces within the Labour Party who would like to see somebody challenging Andy Burnham. There will be some, I suppose, who want to see him just being swept into power. But I was saying earlier to David Maddox, it doesn't work, this smooth transition nonsense, does it? You can't say, Starmer can't come out today and say, I'm going to leave in September, because that'll just be a waste of time.
He can. He's done all sorts of things that are a waste of time. I think it's quite within the possibility of him doing so. But I mean, really, Andy Burnham, because of electoral regulations, which say you can't talk about on broadcast media, you can't talk about an election unless you talk to everybody who's standing, means that he wasn't really scrutinised during the by-election because there wasn't the opportunity to. But at the same time, he wasn't fighting to be the MP for Makerfield. He was fighting to be Prime Minister.
Right.
So we could well get a Prime Minister whose policies have not been scrutinised. Normally, when you have a Prime Minister coming forward, there is a competition, there is a debate, the public get to see it, and decisions are made. Whereas in this instance, they do, and I can understand why most of the people in Labour High Command would want a coronation rather than a competition. Because competitions are messy. People's noses get put out of joint, anger is created, and equally, we find out what they're up to.
Yeah.
That is the last thing that this Labour Party wants. They want to see Burnham coming in, being perceived as somebody who can challenge reform, which is their desperation, is to be able to do so. And the last thing they want is any scrutiny of his policies, his background, his support, anything of the sort. My gut feeling is that, as we saw during the campaign when he was scrutinised at all, I don't think there was a single major policy platform he stood on that he didn't U-turn on during the 4 weeks of the campaign. He was U-turning so fast he could drill a hole in concrete. But what that means is I think he's stuck with Rachel Reeves's economic plan, her tests, her fiscal tests. And if that is the case, all he has to offer the left wing of his backbenchers. And remember, Starmer tried a 5 billion cut in the increase in welfare and failed. So Burnham will be in hock to the left-wing backbenchers. If he has to stick by the fiscal rules, if he has to find some way of not scaring the bond market that he dismissed, then he has to fight the culture war tooth and nail, because that's the only red meat he's got left for his backbenchers.
Yeah.
So I suspect a Burnham government wouldn't do much on the economic sphere because it can't. So it would launch an all-out war on the people of this country, their traditions, their culture, their history, and their very being.
And according to the Mail this morning, he's being urged by the left, who will be the people dictating that sort of policy, to rip up his various tax pledges and to increase income tax and VAT, which would be a complete disaster fiscally.
Well, it would mean there was peace on the backbenches. It might cause economic destruction for the country, but I'm not sure that's what he cares about. This is about power. He has just blown, £5.25 million of taxpayers' money on his ambition.
Yeah.
First the by-election, and now the Manchester by-election. Does he really care about public finances?
Well, this is where it starts to get interesting, isn't it? Because once you become a national figure, as opposed to a cosy little mayor of Manchester, you'll find it's not as easy as it looks, and that you'll have to make some decisions quite far up front to make it clear exactly what he stands for.
In your monologue, Mike, and you were quite right, he's been out of Westminster for a decade or more.
Yeah.
There's an awful lot of stuff that's gone on in that time that he has no idea about whatsoever. And so he will be coming in blind. He'll be coming in hock to his backbenches. He might try and and also his success in Manchester has largely been delivered on other people's money, block grants and things of this sort. He hasn't had to raise those taxes in Manchester to pay for his millionaire friends' massive, great development.
Right.
So it's going to be, as I say, I fear he won't be able to shift on the economy. It would almost instantly, any honeymoon he has, and I'm sorry to say that the modern honeymoon that a politician gets. So I'm trying to move this so it's not quite so bright. The modern honeymoon a politician gets isn't sort of 6 weeks in Benidorm. It's a wet weekend in Wigan.
Yes.
And that honeymoon is a very short period because of the way that life has speeded up. And he doesn't have the time. He doesn't have the time. And that sort of economic, if you were to whack up the tax on income tax, I mean, he doesn't, of course, he would not feel himself governed by the manifesto in a way that Starmer clearly was. And even then, they stiffed it by putting NIC up on employers. But he won't feel himself constrained by that. But the electoral mathematics, he has a very short honeymoon. If he was to whack income tax up or increase VAT or those other things you suggest, that honeymoon isn't even, he wouldn't even get to Wigan Pier.
No, he really wouldn't. And what about reform? There's obviously some reflection going on after what happened in Makerfield. I mean, a lot of people will say it was a massive vote against Keir Starmer, and it might suit reform, actually, that Burnham pushes Starmer out of the way. I don't know. But what's being said inside the hallowed halls of reform right now?
I think the first thing that's being said is don't panic. The only politician who possibly could have won that by-election for Labour is Andy Burnham. Yeah. Nobody else would have had a chance. And no matter what clever tech they've got these days, and no matter how effectively you use AI, you can't clone Burnham to 400 seats. You can't. So the first thing is don't panic. Look at what happened in Wales. Look at what happened in Scotland. In Wales, we drove Labour out of the valleys. In Scotland, we're now tied second in there. Look across the country. Look how many Labour councils we took and how many we're going to take next year. Slow and steady. Select your candidates. Keep the policy platform growing and building. Don't panic.
Okay. Gawain Towler, thank you very much indeed. Gawain Towler there from Reform saying, don't panic, whatever you do. Don't panic. Because, of course, you know, people do make these ludicrous kind of judgments, don't they? They make these ridiculous kind of denunciations and pronunciations after one single by-election. And after Thursday night, there are lots of people in the Tory party who are going to be telling you that Kemi Badenoch's back. You know, the Tories won Aberdeen South. Reform didn't get anywhere. Reform couldn't beat Andy Burnham in Manchester. They're finished. You'll hear all of that. I think, actually, Gawain's right. The long game is probably a better one to look at than anything else. And the reason Andy Burnham is on the brink of becoming the next Prime Minister of this country is just because Starmer was so bloody awful at it. Do we need to do a bit of news, or should we just go to Anne Widdecombe straight away? Should we go to Anne and play her little thing? If we have it. That's all right. It's Monday, man. We don't.
Now, only two sorts of people oppose free speech, and they are at opposite ends of the scale. Snowflakes and totalitarians. I am offended, upset, insulted at least 30 times a day. Tough. It is not necessary to flash your knickers to do a decent ballroom dance. Free speech is for all, not for the privileged few. Nobody has the right to live their lives being protected from offence or from insult or from hurt feelings. And if you really can't take it, become a hermit.
Well, there'll be some who'll be wishing Keir Starmer becomes a hermit now because he's not had a very good weekend, has he? After all. Anne, a very good morning to you.
Morning to you.
And, well, I mean, I'm saying this, and I'll probably be saying it all morning. We've waited a long time for this day. I've got some champagne chilling in the fridge, waiting for the moment we get told that he's no longer here. But you've been through some of this kind of leadership challenges and changes over time. What's your bet as to when he's going to announce this? And at some point, we think today.
Well, I think if he's going to do it, and there's still a slight if there, but if he's going to do it, then I think that we shall get it probably around midday.
Yeah.
I don't see the point of him hanging on any longer. If he's decided, if he's decided and he's getting up this morning deciding to go, then there's no point in prolonging it. But I say what I've said on your programme many times, Mike. Be careful what you wish for.
Yes.
And
No,
Andy
I'm in no doubt that Burnham will be absolutely as useless, if not more useless, than Starmer. But I also think that there is a point at which the people need to be listened to. And if you are the Prime Minister and you've made such a terrible job, it's time to go.
Yeah, I mean, it was time to go a long time ago, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is that Andy Burnham is no stranger to U-turns.
Yeah.
And Andy Burnham is very left-wing. And, there could still be 3 years to go before this country goes to the polls. And if that is going to be the case, then there's going to be a huge amount of damage done to Britain between now and the next election.
Yeah. You see, I wonder whether Andy Burnham will be so conceited, as we've seen he's quite conceited, that he will think, because he did win by quite a large margin, I mean, he got a massive amount of votes in Makerfield, most of them obviously just because people wanted to see the end of Keir Starmer, but he might think that, this is the sort of Labour resurgence they've all been waiting for, and that he genuinely is the Messiah, and he's wearing the sandals to prove it this morning on the front of the Daily Mail. He might think this is a good opportunity to catch reform slightly on the hop, might not be quite ready for a general election, and he might think, let's go for it.
Well, he might. That was the dilemma that has faced numerous prime ministers, including, say, Gordon Brown, the most recent, where they succeed, and then the big question is, do they call a general election? So he will face that, but equally, Keir Starmer's not going to go tomorrow morning. I wish he would, but he isn't. So there'll be time, I think, for Andy Burnham to reflect on that and to decide whether it's what he wants to do. If he does want to do it, and if the timetable is, say, the next party conference, September or whatever, then if he's got time to decide. It's not as if he's just taken over and he's got to decide now.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, most people want to be in number 10 when they get there. They don't want to put it all at hazard immediately. He would need to be 100% convinced that Labour could win a general election before he calls it. So I suspect if I were putting money on it, I would say he won't.
I mean, I guess the problem is that there's been plenty of delusion in Downing Street under the Keir Starmer premiership. We've had Morgan McSweeney, who apparently is back sort of, advising, even though he was sort of forced out due to a whole bunch of what I would have regarded as terribly bad decisions and terribly bad advice. So I think you can probably get quite rich not overestimating the cleverness of these people, because I don't think they're as clever as they think they are.
Well, we've yet to see the full measure of Burnham in charge. We've seen Burnham in cabinet, but we haven't seen Burnham in charge. We've yet to see that full measure. But I suspect, having got to number 10, he'll want to make the most of it. And I think we've got another 3 years. I don't know. You don't know. Probably he doesn't know at this stage.
Right.
But, one can only just look at the alternatives.
Sure. But if Starmer does announce that he's leaving today and says, I'm going to do what they call a reasonably sort of timely transition, and it's all going to be very friendly and nobody's going to be stabbing each other in the back anytime soon. I mean, I don't really see how that works, because he can't sit there running what is effectively a powerless government for 3 months, right? So what happens? Does David Lammy get put in charge? How does it work?
Well, God forbid that David Lammy should be put in charge. But the fact is that no matter what happens, whether Keir Starmer carries on until September or whether somebody else effectively takes over, and we're all waiting for Burnham, doesn't matter. What does matter is that the government can't function in that time. I mean, civil servants will not begin to implement policies unless they're convinced that those policies are going to carry on and that they're not just doing stop-start stuff, which is ruinous to the country. The economy won't know where it is. Are we going to have left-wing taxes? Or are we going to muddle through as we are at the moment? What are we going to do? The banks won't know what to do. Nobody will know what to do if we have a long period without a fixed and permanent prime minister. So I don't advocate these long periods. You know, people talk about orderly transitions.
Yeah.
An orderly transition is the PM stays there until an immediate leadership election result is known. That is an orderly transition. An orderly transition isn't total uncertainty for months on end. That's not an orderly transition. I mean, all July, August, you know, I mean, come on.
Well, exactly, particularly at the moment where you've got, you know, they're going to be, I mean, Starmer, I'm sure when he does make his speech, will claim that they've done all sorts of great things like, you know, stopping immigration, which they haven't done, reducing waiting lists at the NHS, which they haven't done, you know, making sure that the world is a safer place, which they haven't done, making sure that our defence budget has been increased, which they haven't done. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. But you're right. I mean, if he announces he's leaving, he just needs to go, doesn't he?
Yes. I mean, that is absolutely the situation that should prevail. I mean, there is no reason on earth, well, there is in this case because the deputy's so awful, but there's no reason on earth why, you know, a deputy can't just carry on in the interim. And there will be an interim. I mean, there'll be an interim because there are procedures, even where the result is a foregone conclusion, there are still procedures that have to be followed to get through a leadership election. So there will be an interval. But my point is, it doesn't really matter whether the PM carries on in that interval or somebody else is appointed during that interval. What matters is nobody anywhere in the economy, in Whitehall, even in defence, nobody anywhere can take decisions because you don't know what the outcome is going to be.
Right. And also without the authority. I mean, I always liken politics to the media in a way. I mean, in journalistic terms, if you've got an editor who you know is walking away next week, if he asks you to write a feature for his paper, you go, why? Actually, no, I don't think I'll bother. I'll go and find the guy who's going to be doing it next week and I'll write stuff for him. That's just the way of the world, isn't it?
Well, it's the way of the world. It's certainly the way of Westminster.
Yeah.
Absolutely the way of Westminster. And you know, Burnham's got to come in. He's got to do all sorts of mundane things, you know, set up the constituency office, get himself embedded in all the stuff in the House of Commons. He's got to do all of that. And at the same time, of course, all he's really bothered about is the forthcoming Labour leadership election, because there will be one.
Yeah.
I mean, if Starmer doesn't resign, which is extremely unlikely, but if he doesn't resign, there'll be a challenge.
Yeah, exactly right. I've got a little clip to show you, which is kind of amusing. This is when Andy Burnham was last trying to get into Downing Street and couldn't. Have a look. Here he is. He's trying to open the door. He can't open the door. I'm sure this goes back to when he was last an MP. And he walks away, you see. He thinks, I can't get in. And then the police have to help him. And the police go, come back, Andy. Yeah, look, and then watch how easy it is. I know that's a bit unkind, but I think it's quite funny.
All of us have done that at some stage, haven't we?
I'm sure, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, in terms of the infighting as well, which goes on, I mean, I keep seeing people popping up on various different shows talking about how the Labour Party's never been more supportive and they've never been more together and they've never been less likely to argue with each other, which of course is absolute utter tosh because they're all like rats in a sack now, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, there'll be immense pressure on Wes Streeting, for example.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be pressure on him to stand. There'll be immense pressure on him not to stand, to let it be a coronation. And the other potential leadership candidates have got to decide, you know, is it really going to be worth it? I mean, if I were Angela Rayner, I would be deciding, well, that's it. You know, it's Burnham and that's it. And so there really is very little purpose in standing, except that there is a convention, and it is only a convention, it's not a rule. There is a convention that if somebody stands against you for the leadership and you win, you offer them a position.
Yeah.
So there's always that little incentive floating around.
Well, isn't it funny that only a few days ago, Keir Starmer was offering Andy Burnham a very important seat in his cabinet, which I thought, that was my reaction when I heard that as well. I just was like, sorry? I think it's probably more likely to be the other way around. But it's a pretty awful place, isn't it, for prime ministers who were prime minister one day and then suddenly are not the next day. And he ends up having to creep around on the back benches. I mean, Boris Johnson left pretty soon afterwards, didn't he? Do you think that's what Starmer will do?
I mean, it's what a lot of politicians do, a lot of ex-prime ministers do. They leave. But others stay on. Margaret Thatcher stayed on, for example. Others stay on and see that term out. Theresa May, to give her due, did that. But others just say, well, that's it. I've done all I came here to do. I've been prime minister, never mind the constituency. And they go. And I have never respected that. I think, you're elected to serve a constituency. It's a great honour to be prime minister, but it's not the be all and end all of why people put you there.
No.
And you should see the job through. And I think he should see the next 3 years through. Now it's up to him whether he does. I mean, the most difficult thing for him is going to be if between now and September there is an international convention. He will have no authority at all. He can be there.
Yeah.
He can stand there. He can be in the photographs. He can be shaking hands with the world's great, but he won't have any authority at all because people will say, well, we don't know what Britain's going to do.
No, exactly. And it will be embarrassing for Britain, actually, if he does that. So I hope he doesn't. We shall see. But Anne, great to see you, as ever. You can find Anne Widdecombe on Substack, of course, where she writes all of her thoughts down and is of great entertainment to us all. Thanks very much indeed. We'll see you probably with the next Prime Minister in tow, whenever that will be. Anne Widdecombe there. What are we doing now, sorry?
No, I like this. Look at that.
Oh, his first act as Prime Minister, abolish gate latches. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, make it easier. Get the childproof locks taken off Downing Street because he obviously can't work out how to get through them. Larry the cat apparently is on high alert this morning as well. Should we have a look at Larry the cat? Yeah, we've got Pooch's Pooch coming up later.
She's like, nah. Yeah.
I mean, I had this thought last night that at some point or other, I suppose, I don't know how it works exactly, but they'll be in Buckinghamshire at Chequers and then they'll all decide to go back to Downing Street. So presumably he wakes up in Downing Street, Starmer, and he looks out the window and sees all the press waiting there and thinks, crikey, I have to go out and talk to them all and come up with some. He's desperately scribbling down.
Back door.
Yeah, you could go out the back door, I suppose. He probably came in the back door, actually, because I know that's where they park the Range Rovers around the back. Have you ever been round there?
No.
If you go around the back of Downing Street, sort of where Horse Guards Parade is, you can see, and this is the place where they've got all, the net zero fanatics. They've got about 50 Range Rovers parked there, right? All ministerial Range Rovers, all petrol, diesel, not electric. And we're all supposed to drive around in electric cars. But that's another story. We haven't talked about Pooch's car for a while. Has it made you anything good this morning?
No, but I needed to dodge bird poo.
Full English breakfast. Yeah, mine, I got the revenge of Pooch because when I went to get in my car yesterday, it's been crapped upon from a great height by some birds. Anyway, let's get some news, shall we? Before we speak to David Bannerman, former MEP, of course. We'll get his view on what's going on with Starmer and Downing Street, but let's get Edward Hughes first with the news.
Good morning, I'm Edward Hughes with your Monday Bulletin. Pressure is growing on Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Andy Burnham, the former mayor of Greater Manchester, won a decisive by-election in Makerfield, clearing the path for a potential leadership challenge. Starmer has said he will fight any contest, but speculation is mounting about his future, including comments from US President Donald Trump. A serious train collision near Bedford last Friday killed one driver and injured around 100 people, with 9 still in critical condition. Emergency services responded quickly, and investigations continue. An amber extreme heat warning is active for parts of England and Wales, with temperatures forecast to reach 35 to 38 degrees Celsius midweek. This could challenge June records and bring health and travel impacts. Yeah, like we need a warning to tell us it's hot. Remember to like and subscribe. Laters, Tigers.
That's very good advice there from Edward Hughes at the end. Please like and subscribe because we do need as many likes as you can give us. We're on 3,000 at the moment. Try and make it up to 5 and we'll do something interesting. What do you think? Can't think of it yet, but we'll do something interesting.
We'll
if you get
play a video of Marilyn at the weekend.
Oh, that's true, yeah. A video of Marilyn at the hotel do we went to on Friday night. That'll be good. We're getting Marilyn on, I think, in the 9 hour. Nice. In fact, we're in the 9 hour, aren't we? Yeah. Already. Crikey. The time has flown. Let's talk now to David Campbell Bannerman, a man that we used to talk to quite a lot in the old days, and he's back now for the first time on the new Mike Graham show. David, very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike.
Good to see you. Fascinating times. I've started most of my conversations today with, we've waited quite a long time for this. I've got some champagne chilling in the fridge for the moment that he steps out and announces what he's going to do. But what are you hearing? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think there's likely to be a coronation rather than a contest. My Labour friends who are experts on the Labour rules point out that if the Prime Minister resigns immediately, Burnham will not be Prime Minister. They will have to appoint someone under Labour rules who is in the Cabinet. So you might have, whilst there's a Labour competition going on, you'll have another Prime Minister that is in the Cabinet who may or may not be standing in that leadership contest. So it depends how Starmer wants to play this. If he wants to be vicious, he may even resign his seat. I mean, that's one option. Create another by-election which may be lost to, I don't know who, Reform, the Greens. So there's a lot happening, Mike. But if he plays ball, Starmer, then he'll probably leave it for a few months while there's a leadership contest and then step down, which is what Burnham wants. So it's in his hands whether this is going to be really messy or nasty or civilized.
Yes. I mean, it doesn't seem to make much sense. I mean, most of the people I've spoken to this morning don't believe in this orderly transition nonsense. You can't come out and say, I'm leaving in 3 months and then just not be in charge of anything for 3 months. It doesn't work, does it? So I've just got a bit of breaking news, actually. It's being reported that the hot podium guy has arrived at number 10. You know, the character that the women all look out for in his T-shirt. So apparently the podium might be coming out anytime soon. So we might get Starmer out before 10 o'clock. We'll see. But I don't understand how it's going to work, because if Burnham wants a coronation, that's all very well. But he can't wait too long, really, because we'd have a rudderless government with a rudderless Prime Minister and a rudderless, almost a leaderless organisation, wouldn't we?
Well, I think the Blair-Brown model, which has been mentioned, is a good one, where there was an orderly transition. Blair didn't want to go, but he would have been pushed if he hadn't. So they agreed this process over time. I think that would work, actually, and it'd be better for the country. I mean, I think what it comes down to more than that is if there is a contest formally, I mean, if no one applies apart from Burnham, then that's the process is over, obviously. But you may get some, people like Carnes, who's the defence minister, who wants to make a point about defence, quite rightly, actually. He speaks well on defence. If he wants to throw his hat in the ring, just to sort of make a big thing about that and get a more senior job, it is about now down the ambition of these people. I don't think it's in Streeting's interest to fight if he gets offered Chancellor. I think there's going to be a lot of haggling. If there is the haggling, then I don't think there'll be a contest.
No, I think that's right. Because we keep being told as well that, the Labour Party and the Labour government's never been more united. But I don't believe a word of that, to be honest. And it sounds to me as though there's many, many different factions at play here. And I think quite a lot of people can't quite believe how easy it's been for Andy Burnham to go from, wanting to be Prime Minister to literally being on the brink of it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admire his courage, political courage. I mean, he fought at a Leave-backing seat which had voted reform throughout all the local councils.
Yeah.
But he had a local popularity, recognition, local links. He lived in the area. So he had a good chance. And of course, all the other parties collapsed. The Lib Dems, I think, got 0.4%. I'd never known them in a by-election to get such a terrible vote. The Conservatives lost their deposit. So he's been courageous in that sense. But I think the momentum's behind him. And if he can demonstrate that 200, 300 MPs behind him, then there isn't a contest, really.
No, there really isn't. And what did you make of Reform's performance up in Manchester? Because there's a lot of I don't think soul-searching is quite the right word, but I think there's some in the organisation who think they should have done a bit better.
I think that there are lessons to be learned. I think, some of the candidate Kenyon's comments on social media should have been picked up earlier. But I think it was about name recognition and getting rid of Starmer. I mean, that trumped the pro-Brexit vote, which is clearly still there.
Yeah.
I mean, ironically, if Burnham comes in and tries to sort of leave the EU, which he talked about, he soon closed that down before the by-election. But if he tried that as Prime Minister, then he might even lose his own seat. Makerfield may jump him for trying to get back in the EU. So it's a bizarre situation. I think on reform, look, it's the second best reform vote there's ever been. And when all the other parties collapsed as they did, the Greens lost their deposit too, remember? And that's hot on just winning the other Manchester by-election. Actually, they did pretty well. The vote holds up. There are other contests. So I wouldn't write off reform in any way.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't either. But, it's interesting that there are so many conclusions being drawn from this one by-election, which clearly was a very unusual by-election, wasn't it? It wasn't, people were not acting like they normally would, because we're about to celebrate, or some people will be celebrating anyway, 10 years of Brexit. And here you've got the Labour government hoping to get closer ties with the European Union, which I don't think even most kind of people that voted Remain don't want anymore.
No, I mean, you've got that in the City of London that was pushed against Brexit, Bloomberg, JP Morgan. But now JP Morgan's building a tower block in Docklands, 12,000 people. It's brought back more people than it said it was going to send to Paris. It's brought back 5,000 or 6,000 from Paris.
Yes.
So, I mean, they don't want it. They actually said no to being part of this reset. And farmers are wary of the reset too.
Yeah.
So it's, people are seeing the benefits finally of Brexit, though it hasn't been sold properly. And it needs proper delivery, including, of course, Northern Ireland.
Yeah, and that's always been a bit of a thorn in the side, but somebody hopefully will get that right one of these days. David, good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. David Bannerman there, former Tory MEP, giving us his view on what happens. We're told the podium guy has turned up, Pooch, so we could be looking at some kind of imminent statement from the Prime Minister. Resigning, finally. We could pop the champagne. We're only going until 10 o'clock. We've got a poll, by the way. Keir Starmer's next job. Number 1, sausage maker. Number 2, cleaner at the Emirates Stadium. Number 3, tool maker. Number 4, Burnham's butler. Be careful how you say that. And sausage maker, the clear winner at the moment, 37%. 7,300 votes. That's the biggest poll we've ever done, I think, isn't it?
It's a close one as well.
37%. Well, they've dropped back a bit. Toolmaker and Burnham's butler at 27%, and then 9% for the cleaner at the Emirates. He'd probably like that. I'd put him in charge of cleaning at the Emirates. I think he needs to learn a little bit of humble pie. I think he needs to eat a bit of humble pie. I think he needs to also know what ordinary people think. And I think he needs a job where he actually comes into contact with ordinary people, who are not human rights lawyers, and who actually understand the Britain that we all want to live in, because he certainly doesn't. Absolutely right. A couple of very funny messages coming in that I can't read out because they're a bit rude. What's this? Lammy still wears a Ben 10 digital watch because he can't tell the time. I mean, Lammy, you just despair, don't you? But this is the thing that I can't work out really, because at the end of the day, if Starmer stands down, right, and he is left bereft, and he says that he's going to hang around for 2 or 3, I don't see how that works. I just don't see how it works. So Burnham will either have to get in and start doing the job, but I don't really see how that works either. It's the whole thing is a complete and utter show of what can only be described as something which I can't say because I'm going to try not to swear. Shall we have a look at what?
We've got Marilyn here quickly.
Oh, have we? Okay.
Let me just play this clip. And then we'll go to
well, we haven't got to 5,000 yet, but do you want to play it anyway?
Well, tell them to promise.
No, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you get it to 5,000 while we're talking to Marilyn, then we'll play it. Shall we? Marilyn, very good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Leave the camera alone.
Yeah, leave the camera alone, Pooch says. Stop
Sorry.
moving it. Yeah. We had a lovely time on Friday night, didn't we? Tell us.
Wonderful time. Yeah, I was spaced out all day Saturday, and then I looked at my lovely, brand new, beautiful, for ladies listening, brand new ivory satin shoes, which I bought for the occasion. Some idiot had splashed the very sticky passion fruit cocktail.
Oh no!
All over the shoes. So, ladies, if you have a problem with ivory satin shoes, particularly brides, really, you just. I got hand wash liquid, fluffed it all up, got some cotton wool, just literally took the suds, not the water, splotched it all out, and they look like new again. Boom!
Oh, good. Well
and
done.
I'm very happy because I was up at 6 o'clock this morning for LBC, and then oh no, it's cancelled now because of Starmer. Well, he hasn't said anything yet, has he?
Oh, look, there you are. Yeah, maybe you spilled it on your own shoes. I mean, there is that possibility.
No, that was me carefully bringing yours across the patio.
Yes. Now, I've got a question here that's coming. Oh, that was me, yeah. Yeah, me and my entourage. I brought them back to London with me, so they just follow me around there all the time. You know, right. and the brass band. I thought, there's a brass band every time I walk in anywhere.
Excellent.
They were very good. Now, I've got a question. A question from Charlotte here, who wants to know about your 2 back doors, which you showed us on Saturday.
Is that our Charlotte or?
Yes, it's our Charlotte. Yeah.
Well, my little tiny, very 100-year-old cottage, built in World War One. Duchess of Bedford decided that she didn't want to see any of the plebs when she drove past in a chariot. Plebs talking gossiping over the fence, right?
Yeah.
So my house has the original door with the original glass, which I don't want to get rid of because I do like antiques and stuff like that and memorabilia. And so she decided you'd have the back door next to the front door, but you could never get out the back.
Brilliant. But it was great. It was great to see you. Let's talk about Starmer.
Here's our host, Dave, in the middle.
Oh, there's Dave in the middle, yeah, and there's Pooch there.
Yeah.
I'm quite surprised, Pooch. You've now sort of gone full.
Look.
You've gone full publicity, haven't you?
Full publicity. Well,
So we can now see Pooch everywhere we go. And Charlotte on the left. Just about see Elena on the right. And in front, you can see all the drinks that I had, basically, which was lovely. And we're going to do a live show up there at Swinford Manor because we think it's lovely.
And you count me in.
Yeah, we will. Absolutely right. How long did it take you to get home?
I got home in an hour and 10. I don't really remember how I did, but I came back a quicker route. But I looked up, I worked out that we had about 6 of those baby Guinnesses, right? So I looked it up yesterday, and and I remember Dave saying to me, "How many have you had?" And apparently they're 2 shots of like Tia Maria,
right?
And then with it, you like foam up just some sort of creamy stuff, like you would put on. You know, when they used to do those coffees,
like
Irish
froth,
like that. So it looks like a little baby Guinness, but my golly, it's a killer drink.
It was good, well, that's why I went to bed. You know,
when
I
I
couldn't
got in the
stand it.
bedroom, I fell over, and as usual,
As usual.
my guardian wasn't there.
Now, tell us, I'm going to ask you, you'd be the first person that I've asked this question of this morning. What's your memory? What will be your memory of Keir Starmer when he finally gets out there and decides to leave? What do you think you'll remember him for?
The trigger, the trigger alert. Actually, I think he should be a bin man.
Yeah.
Because he needs to understand what working people are and how necessary they are. And then he can work in Birmingham and he can clear the streets of Birmingham. I think he should do a dirty, horrible job for all the CRAP he's created for us. I don't want to remember him. I don't want to hear his voice again. I don't want to see him again. I just think he's the weirdest man ever. He has no charisma. He's just cold, emotionally cold. And you know what? Now, what did I see the other day? Oh, yes. So, as you know, I live near Bedford and we've had that dreadful train crash.
Oh, yeah, terrible, yeah.
People that like me were worried I was on the train, or they might have been. Hopefully, she's on the train.
Yeah.
But he wrote a note to say, as did the King, to say, oh, how sorry they were to hear about this. Neither of those geezers wrote to Siobhan White, nor did they write to Mrs. Webber. So, you know, I just. You know, you can
I know,
do it
he just gets everything wrong, doesn't he? That's the problem. But he'd be a hopeless bin man, you know, because he wouldn't know how to do it. He'd have to have a committee to tell him how to do it, and he'd have to have a couple of summit meetings.
I think he needs a bit of roughing up, Mike, so that if he didn't know what to do it, he'd be told in point blank language.
No, exactly right. Exactly
Oh,
right.
they probably stick it in the back, actually, where all the rubbish goes.
Well, that would be good too. And I
And he
mean,
end up in landfill.
well, true. But so the bottom line is, right, Burnham's not going to be any better. So we're now
Oh,
going to be, inflected, I should say, by, somebody who thinks he wants to be Prime Minister. It's a bit like me going, I quite like to be Prime Minister, so I think I'll just become it, shall I? I mean, the world doesn't work like that.
I mean, how can you possibly... I mean, it's a huge leap from going Mayor of Manchester, sorting out the buses, to being, like, PM, one of the global world leaders. That's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And it's not right. I didn't vote for Labour, but we voted that person in, who shall be nameless because I don't want to say his name anymore. So I think we should have a general election. It's us. They have messed up our lives in this country big time. They've abandoned people. They've smash the gangs. How many did he smash? Not one. As I said before, he can't smash an egg. He's just so sincerely insincere. I can't stand him. I really can't stand him. And but I don't know who there is. There's no one on the front bench. I can't see Burnham being any better. No. But I honestly think we, the public, it's our lives that are impacted. They have to do something about the migrants. They have to do something about the Muslim thing. Did you see?
And the economy as well. The economy is in a complete and utter state of disrepair.
Westminster Cathedral, Westminster Abbey, whichever the Church of England one is, they are now flying the Pakistani flag on top of the tower.
Are they?
I mean, that is outrageous.
No, I don't know what they're doing that for. I'll check that out. Bit of breaking news for you, though. Just literally 2 minutes ago, Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff has announced to number 10 staff that he is resigning as Prime Minister. So, I mean, I don't know if that makes it possible to open the champagne.
Yeah.
I think it does. I think we can say
That is so exciting.
goodbye and good riddance. Listen, I don't mean that to you, obviously, but I've got to run because we've got a couple of other people on the go. Great to see you at the weekend. Fantastic to see you this morning as well. And we shall see you very soon. Yeah. So listen, I've waited 2 years to do this. So, let's see if we can make sure that it goes well.
I can't believe I'm not there. Absolutely.
I know.
Oh, next time I'm on Plonk, I want Chris to teach me how to undo fizzy tops because I can't do them.
Can you not? Well, get Anna McGovern to teach you. She knows how to do it. Right?
I don't know how to do it. And it's something about turning it the opposite way.
Got a video. That is terrible. Cool, that.
I was going to say, what a clean bullet. No, that's not right.
It's been here for a while, but here we are. Listen, goodbye and good riddance to Keir Starmer.
Go out and buy mine now. Absolutely. I would say it'll be a very short celebration because I think what's coming next is going to be the perfect storm.
Yeah, well, that'll be the strychnine that we drink when Annie Burnham gets in. That's another story. Marilyn, good to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
And you, lovely to see you.
Andre's here because all this week we're doing a combination of all sorts of things because it's Armed Forces Week. We served, run by Hugh Andre, obviously a great organisation. We're going to be highlighting what they do and all the things that they're doing this week as well. So we'll get to that in a moment. First, though, I think we've got Lisa Francesca Nand to talk to. Lisa, very good morning to you.
Good morning from a very sunny Brighton.
Oh, very nice. It is going to be hot, isn't it? It's going to be lovely down there. I mean, that's where you want to be, by the seaside.
I'm going to head down the beach later, I think. It's kind of like when you live in a place like this, it's kind of like being on holiday all the time.
Yes.
Particularly when the weather's like this, but just generally, the cafes are filled, the bars and restaurants are full, and people are always wandering around, and it's a great atmosphere.
Do you get invaded from London, though, every time the weather gets like this?
Yeah, but, as a local, you don't go down those main beaches around the pier. You go, 15, 20 minutes along where I live in Hove. It's beautiful and not too crowded and, very clean and tidy without all the day trippers coming down.
No, of course. I mean, one of the things I keep hearing, which is not so much about this country as it is about places in Europe. I was in Cyprus a couple of weeks ago, which I tried to keep secret, but everybody's found out. Friends of mine have gone to Greece, other people in Spain. There's quite a small sort of contingent of British holidaymakers, but a lot smaller than normal. Is that because people are just saying they can't afford to go abroad or what?
I think people were put off in the last couple of months by everyone talking about jet fuel prices and cancellations and things like that. And, you know, we are the media and we have to talk about these things because they are true. But sometimes things get misconstrued. Like, you know, you'd see like the headline on a newspaper would be like 20,000 flights cancelled. But actually, that was Lufthansa, and they were cancelled between Germany and Poland. And actually, the jet fuel crisis never got as far as affecting us here.
Right.
And hopefully now, you know, with things looking a little bit better in the Middle East, it won't do. I booked my flights to Malaga last week, and they were much cheaper than normal, and actually much cheaper than they were at half term. Like literally £300 cheaper than what I paid this time last year for the three of us. So you can actually still get some deals out there. And I think one of the problems is we talk up problems because we can't avoid them. Because it's true, you know, flight cancellations did happen, but the way the press sometimes word it, it makes people would just look at, you know, the headline and think, oh my goodness, flights are cancelled, things are expensive, I'm not going.
Yeah, absolutely right. And does it come back, do you think? Or, I mean, are people just going to be doing more holidaying in Britain? Because, I mean, it's not cheap to do that either.
You know, it always comes back, you know, post-COVID, obviously. There was a time when we couldn't legally travel, I think, further than the length of the road or whatever it was, but we obviously couldn't go abroad either. Yeah. And there are all sorts of rules and regulations. And some people are like, well, that's it, I'm not flying again. And actually, you know, travel is booming and bigger than ever. And it is beautiful going on holiday in this country. And actually, usually when there is a heat wave here, bookings for abroad go down as well. But like you said, it's expensive in this country, isn't it? It's expensive to eat out, unfortunately. It's not the fault of hospitality. I get that, you know, restaurants are closing at a rapid rate, which
they
is
are.
a shame, but it's a lot cheaper in Europe, and that's partly because of the taxes that we've always had in this country. And I think at some point the government are going to be looking at those. We've had
well, I mean, Andy Burnham's going to be looking at taxes and putting them up as opposed to down, because that's
well,
the direction he knows
I
how
don't
to do
know,
it in.
but there's been talk about taking the VAT off lots of entertainment, like theme parks and things, this summer, which I think is really good. And I think we need to also explore something like that with restaurants and whoever is in. Government, there's pros and cons, but I'm hoping that that's something they will actually look at.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. I'm being told now that the announcement's coming at about 9:30, Pooch, so about 10 minutes to go. The hot podium guy is out and about, so it looks as though we are about to get ourselves another resignation. That'll be 7 prime ministers since Brexit in 2016. It's quite a lot, that, isn't it?
It's a lot. I mean, it's, you know, when you...
I was going to raise a glass to Starmer, by the way. I had to break this
Yeah,
open.
no, quite envious, actually. I totally have one of those right now. It's one of those things, you know, when you come out of a coma and somebody asks you who's the prime minister, you're not necessarily going to get it right, are you? It takes me sometimes a moment to think.
Yes.
How many Tory prime ministers that we have, I can't count now. And obviously now the second Labour is the second, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it is. Well, do you know, I always go back to there's a great Mac cartoon back in the days when John Major was in charge, and there was a picture of an alien coming out of a spaceship and talking to somebody and saying, take me to your leader. And they said, I'm terribly sorry, we haven't got one at the moment. Because that's what it's going to be like. We'll have no leader, really, for the next couple of months, by the looks of things. It will be completely rudderless.
That's for the last, oh God, how many years are we talking now? Is it 6 years? It's just one after the other, and nobody can get it right. And I don't think, you know, any political party seems to be, you know, sort of speaking to the people right now, which is a shame, really, because, you know, we're in a lot of trouble. And, you know, it has been going since 2016, really, I think, that everything started to go wrong. And I think you and I are probably on different pages with that. But for me, it certainly feels like that's the case. And actually, last time, even though David Cameron, even if you're not, you know, a Conservative, you know, whatever sort of way you lean, actually, it almost feels like that's when the grown-ups were in charge last. And then the whole Brexit thing happened, and everything's just got more and more expensive and more difficult, particularly as a travel journalist. You know, I see that, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, but of course, many people have said to me, in travelling to Europe, you know, some places are better than others. You know, some people are getting held up, some people are not. You know, when I went to Cyprus, it was absolutely no problem at all. Other people going to Greece, absolutely no problem at all either. In sort of France, they can be a bit nasty and hold people up if they want to. But by and large, it's not a nationwide sort of, you know, every country in Europe is now more difficult to get to. It's just some of them.
No, you're absolutely right. And the queues, again, this is something that we talk up on the press. You know, we talk about the queues, and it's a nightmare because somebody waited for 4 hours at Tenerife, and that did happen. But that is actually, few and far between. And I've been through scores of time, time since the EES came in place, and I've never had a problem. But the queues do happen, but it has been, by and large, it is going smoothly. It's everything else that is more difficult. Like, for example, my parents live in Malaga. I can't even send them a birthday present anymore because of the duty involved. It's not worth it. I know it's the minor thing, but we used to really enjoy sending things back and forth. Made things from the kids or presents, and that's all stopped. And also, I'd love to go back and live in the EU at some point. And now, with the 90-day out of 180 rule, it's a lot more difficult.
Yeah, it is. But again, they could fix it if they wanted to. But listen, I'm going to run because we're going to get sorted out for Keir Starmer's resignation, which is unlikely to make anything any better either. It's just going to give me some satisfaction that the guy who has completely ruined Britain is now going to have to leave it behind and go and find something else to do. But Lisa, great to see you. Thank you very much indeed. Lisa Francesca Nand there talking to us from Brighton. She used to talk to us from Spain, but what can you do? Brighton is just as hot now. Hey?
I'm just going to put it on.
You're going to do a live test of the podium scenario?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that because we want to get ourselves ready for it. We're going to try and carry it live for you if we can.
Yeah, 1 second.
We'll see. In the meantime, we are celebrating, if that's the right word, commemorating Armed Forces Week as well, which is that. There you go. Time to give statement in Downing Street shortly. There's Downing Street, number 10. But meanwhile, Hugh Andres here. Very good morning. So you're looking very tanned and well. And you're joined by Den Wormleyton, is it? Dean Wormleyton, sorry. It's Den there. Yeah, sorry about that. Dean Wormleyton, nice to see you. Welcome to the Mike Graham Show.
Thank you.
You're going to be slightly upgraded, I think, in a second, because we're about to go and see the Prime Minister resigning. But while you're here, it's a good opportunity to talk about the state of the armed forces, isn't it?
Yes, and
you've got a new Defence Secretary who may or may not be any good.
Yeah, he was a very good soldier. Worked for General Sir Mike Jackson.
Dan Jarvis,
Dan Jarvis, good guy. I mean, I don't know him well, I met him a couple of times, but here we are again with another Prime Minister. My 9th Prime Minister since 2010, whilst I've been supporting veterans and their families. And as I always say, there's something wrong that the likes of myself and Dean should be sat here.
Yeah.
Always.
Yes.
We shouldn't have a job.
And you always say to me, we celebrate or commemorate Armed Forces Week, but why is it only a week?
Well, yeah, and I do think, I call me a bit of a pessimist now, but as I always say, Armed Forces Week in remembrance sees politicians, throwing around lots of promises, etc., and jumping on the military bandwagon, and then normal business, which is as very little as resumed.
Yes.
The following day.
The trouble is, when you've got the Prime Minister promising his own Secretary of State for Defence that he's going to put more money in, then he doesn't. What chance have you got?
I have huge respect for John Healey and Al Carnes. Both men of principle. As you know, I'm very non-partisan. I have to be. Within the veterans community, we're a broad church, and ultimately we serve the King, and whomever the King appoints, on whichever day of the week it is, that's who we work for. But I'm here today because it is Armed Forces Week. I think if you go out on the street and ask most people, they won't have a clue.
No.
Where's the advertising on the buses?
If it wasn't for you telling me, to be honest, there's no point in pretending that we know everything here at the show. We have lots of help from people like Hugh, we've known each other a few years now. And Hugh told me the other day, Dean, it's Armed Forces Week coming up. Should we do something? I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
But there's nobody else telling me that.
No, and no one on the street will know about it. It's not on the trains. Personally, my view is, we should be offering military families and veterans free travel into London.
Yeah.
Come and see a show at a discount.
Sure.
You're putting money into the economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, have here's a meal voucher for Pizza Express or what have you. That's the sort of thing.
A little parade or something, or
a
some
parade.
red arrows flying somewhere.
And there are some, to be fair, and local councils and local armed forces reps organise them. But the military and veterans are a minority group. Someone reminded me that the other day. You are a minority group.
Yeah.
But, you know, where's the advertising? Where's the promotion?
Yeah.
No one knows it's Armed Forces Week.
Right.
God forbid it should be a month.
Right.
And that's why, you know, for 5 years, I think you and I have been working together and promoting our veterans and promoting our armed forces.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Crikey.
But we always try and do it in a positive way.
Yes.
Because God knows, you know, people turn on the news and it's always pretty negative and it's pretty gloomy, normally led by the politician.
Yeah.
But, you know, here today with Dean, because, you know, I've always tried to introduce inspirational. Veterans, we're not victims, as I always say, we're assets.
Yeah.
And companies, employers need to use us to become your boiler engineers, your heating engineers, use us to run your holiday parks, keep people safe, etc. And Dean here, I really don't want to steal his thunder, because this week for me is about promoting, you know, other veterans and what they're doing. And We Served is very proud to be partnering with Squaddy Box.
Yes.
Which is a nice
I'm going to ask you
segue
about that in a
too.
second. I'm just going to give a quick sort of caveat to anyone, because we are waiting for the Prime Minister to announce his resignation, which we believe is imminent. And like all things on live television, stroke radio, I don't want to be rude to you guys, but if he starts talking, I'm going to jump away.
Yeah, I'll cut to it when he comes
And if
out
you
the
can
door,
cut to it. But I mean, at the moment, I don't know what you're seeing. Are you seeing an empty...
They're all standing out there. I'll show you.
An empty lectern or something, because one of the funny things is, and I don't even know, I think he might actually be an ex-military guy, the hot...
Well,
the hot lectern guy, you know, the guy that turns up.
But in the military we have that saying, we're used to doing things on the hoof.
Yes.
And we're used to a fastball.
So they're all standing there waiting. So it must be imminent. So the guy that comes out and puts the lectern out, I think is an ex-military guy, because the women all love him because he's got these bulging muscles and stuff. But you're a former engineer, former Royal Engineer, in fact.
Correct, yes.
Tell us a bit about Squaddy Box and what it does.
So Squaddy Box provides a physical mailbox for homeless veterans and blue light services. What that means is it's a literally as it sounds, it's a mailbox that goes on the side of the building.
Okay.
Our SOP, as we call it, is we'd like boxes to be on side of GP surgeries, churches, things like that. Public spaces where people can get to that's unrestricted.
Okay.
Hurry up and wait.
We'll come back to you.
That's
Don't
fine.
worry. Here he is. Here's Starmer, ladies and gentlemen. About to be the former Prime Minister. Let's have a listen. There's some headphones there if you want to listen.
Thank you.
Do you want to be in vision or not, Mike?
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you. Walking up this street 2 years ago was the proudest moment of my life. A new Labour government, the first in 14 years. A page in our country's history turned after years of disappointment and despair. The chance to change the lives of millions of people for the better. That's what I came into politics.
Yeah, how's that going?
The journey to that point was not easy. 6 years ago, I inherited a Labour Party that was politically, financially, and morally bankrupt. I was told time and time again that my party was finished, that we were consigned to history, that a majority at the general election, let alone a landslide majority, was impossible. But we proved those people wrong, because we changed our party, ripping out the poison of anti-Semitism, restoring trust on the economy, defence and national security, and becoming a party that once again stood proudly with, not against, our national flag. The hard work of change was with a singular purpose, not power for power's sake, but to change Britain for the better, to build a fairer country with dignity and respect, where everyone is seen, everyone is valued, wealth and opportunity for all, not just the privileged few. And look at what we've achieved in just 2 years. An economy that is stronger, growing faster than our peers. Wages rising faster than inflation in every single month since we came to power. Investment secured.
Bye-bye.
Infrastructure being built.
Yeah, here we go.
An end to austerity, with the fastest fall in NHS waiting lists for 17 years. The biggest improvement in rights for workers and renters in a generation. The biggest uplift in defence spending since the Cold War. Small boat crossings falling. Asylum hotels closing. Protecting young people from social media. And 500,000 children being lifted out of poverty because of the choices that I made. Our reputation in the world restored, with Britain once again standing up for decency, respect, and the rule of law, securing trade deals, standing with Ukraine, standing up for our values, and rebuilding our relationship with our allies in Europe. Change promised by a Labour government, change fought for by a Labour government, change delivered by a Labour government. But I know the question being asked now is not who was best placed to change the Labour Party, to take us into power and to begin the vital work of improving lives for millions of people. Those questions have been answered. The question my party is asking now is whether I am best placed to lead us into the next general election. I have heard the answer of my parliamentary party to that question, and I accept that answer with good grace. Every decision I've taken has been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party. I have spoken to His Majesty the King this morning to inform him of my decision. I will ask the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party to set out a timetable with nominations opening on the 9th of July and completed by the summer recess. In the case of a contest, this will ensure a new leader is in place before Parliament returns in September. I will remain in post as Prime Minister until the contest is complete, and I will do everything I can to ensure an orderly handover of power. I will also give my successor my full and unequivocal support, knowing that they will inherit a Britain that is far stronger and fairer than the one I inherited 2 years ago, better prepared for the challenges ahead, and better able to ensure the Labour Party secures a second term in office. I want to thank all of those friends and colleagues who have been at my side for these past 6 years or so, for their incredible commitment, service and support. I want to thank the brilliant Number 10 staff and our country's extraordinary civil servants who dedicate their lives to public service.
Yeah. Not for
when I
much
leave
longer,
the
though.
biggest job in the country,
Has he helped the veterans, Hugh?
I shall spend more time on the most important.
He's pursued you for criminal charges.
Exactly. I think you'll find he's trying to charge people for doing the work.
Oh, he's getting a bit teary.
By my side.
Oh, it's teary.
We now know how the country's felt for the last 2 years.
And being the best dad I can to my beautiful children,
And his house
who are
moved,
my
Bill.
pride and my joy.
Don't forget,
Thank you very much.
Any reason we
Okay, ready? Dun, 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 dun. I don't want to be trivialising this event.
No,
but,
no.
I've been waiting for 2 years for this. Right? People told me there's no way this can happen. There's no way that you can get. Russell Quirk, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is here. He's taken over at 10. Sorry to interrupt you guys. I'll be right back with you. I was told, there's no mechanism by which the Labour Party can get rid of their leader. It won't happen. I was told by some very esteemed journalists that I was wrong. And I'm afraid that's why I'm drinking champagne today, because not only am I happy that he's gone, but I was also right, again.
Yeah, I'm not just happy, I'm
positively ecstatic.
Yeah.
And look, he's broken into tears there. He's choked. We'll now have Beth Rigby, no doubt,
Yeah,
standing
yeah.
up saying what a great man he is.
Oh,
what
yeah,
emotion
lovely
he
man,
showed.
yeah.
He's a family man. Everything he did was for the country.
Yeah.
All I would say is, Mike, that him crying there, now he knows how we felt for the last 2 years.
Exactly.
Because we've been crying our bloody eyes out under your tenure, Keir Starmer.
Yes.
I think also, just from a military perspective, all those families who've had to endure the turning over of the Northern Ireland Legacy
Northern
Act,
Ireland thing's been
and
an absolute
those,
disgrace.
you know, those
Total
men who are,
disgrace.
you know, that hounding, using lawfare to go after veterans is an absolute disgrace, and he wonders why. The SAS is hemorrhaging, the armed forces are hemorrhaging, because if you haven't got a leader who backs you, then what have you got? And
well, to be clear, he didn't. He had the option not to. It was him and Lord Hermer that literally have created this kind of latter-day witch hunt for those that went into service, did what they were told to do, carried out orders. He relentlessly, he and that hideous individual, Lord Hermer, decided to go after the armed forces. What a despicable couple of individuals.
By the way, if you could hear Ode to Joy going on in the background there, do you know who was doing it? Was that Steve Bray was playing it.
Yeah.
He's a
He should be
disgrace, isn't
supporting
he?
him, shouldn't he?
Well, you would think.
They're all on the same side.
Yeah, but he's so left wing. You probably think he's probably against him for some reason or other. But I mean, what a nasty piece of work he is. Somebody that would wish to. I mean, whatever you might say about the Prime Minister of this country, as they say in America, you should have some respect for the actual office. Let the guy at least resign and say what he has to say.
Yeah.
I have no time for him, but I also have a lot of time for the rituals of government.
Yeah.
And if you're standing there resigning, let the guy speak and then make fun of him by all
Yeah,
means.
wish you hadn't said that because we're busy decking out the UK live
No, you can do it. Yeah,
balloons,
yeah, that's fine. No, that's absolutely right. Because
no, I'm joking.
No, I'm not saying that he has to be respected for the rest of the time, but just while he's talking, let him do it.
Let's enjoy it.
So you've got a couple of hours of partying to do.
We are celebrating. Yeah,
Good.
Me and Lebet, hopefully you're going to pop in.
I will pop
to
in.
Kick off the party.
I totally
Me and
will.
Lebet, Opik and a few
I'll see if I
others.
can find some more booze in the in the fridge.
No,
by the way,
it's an auspicious day. It's
well,
great.
I've waited 2 years for this, and what it also means is that he has not made it to his 2-year anniversary, and I think now is where it all starts to get interesting, because he's talking there about if there is to be a contest, suggesting that he's not going to take part in a contest, even though last Friday he said he would fight on. So it would look as though he's going to try and be the Prime Minister, lame duck Prime Minister for the next couple of months.
Well, he wants to be the
That's
caretaker.
not going to work.
He wants to be the caretaker rather than it being Pat McFadden or somebody else.
Yes,
doesn't he, I suppose?
but it's not going to work because, as you guys will know, if you've got a commanding officer who isn't going to be there in a week's time and he starts ordering you around, I mean, I know you guys have got a slightly different way of doing things, but your confidence is not in your leader if he's leaving, is it?
Yeah. No, I have to say, I was looking at your copy of The Sun there thinking, wasn't that long ago I remembered a picture of a lettuce.
Yeah.
On the front.
Yeah.
What has a 2-year or nearly a 2-year shelf life?
Right.
What has a 2
Exactly. Well, the thing is, he's now a busted flush. I mean,
Yeah.
why? I mean, if you're in cabinet, you're not going to do anything he wants. If you're a civil servant, you're not going to bother carrying out any of his policies. If you're, in fact, the Secretary of State for Defence, Dan Jarvis, who's a great soldier. I mean, Dean, if you're somebody who's taking military orders, you need to have faith in the person giving them, don't you?
Plus, it's that thing as well, isn't it? Once your mindset's you're going out the door,
Yeah.
your mindset's out the door. You're not thinking about the job anymore, are you?
No, exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
so
So
it's-
that's where this whole system falls down. They talk about, an orderly transition. There's no such thing.
I had a really interesting conversation a few months ago with a former colleague of mine who made it sort of rank of general. I said, it must have been really challenging when you're trying to teach young soldiers the values of leadership, selflessness, integrity, courage, all those sorts of things. And they look at their leaders or the alleged leaders who lack all of the above.
Yes.
How do you keep them maintained on that moral compass, heading in the right direction? And he just said, because we just have to drill into them the military values and the military mindset.
Yeah.
Like football clubs, managers come and go.
Yes.
It's a shame
But
that
our
those
values and our ethics have to remain absolutely true north.
It's a shame that those values aren't dispersed into wider society and into
Yeah.
the political class, isn't it? What he'll now do, of course, he'll spend the next few weeks before his absolute exit talking about trying to create some kind of legacy.
Oh, yeah.
What's that going to be?
Yeah. Well, I mean, his legacy, as far as I'm concerned, was destroying the Labour Party. Even though Andy Burnham now thinks that he's reinvented it, and he thinks that he's now sort of got this massive mandate to run the country. He hasn't. I think what's going to happen now is that Burnham will be so conceited that he'll think, I've got a big mo behind me here. I'm going to have an election and I'm going to beat Reform because they're not going to be ready. And I think that's going to play right into Reform's hands.
Brilliant. Bring it on.
Yeah.
But I bet the Conservatives apparently today said they don't want a general election. That's very telling.
Well, of course they don't, you know. But they're the other ones who have gone mad because they've won Aberdeen South and gone, oh, we're back.
Look at us.
You're not back, actually.
Yeah,
No.
the irony of that.
You know.
They were the ones that stacked the dice or stacked the deck against the oil and gas industry. But, do we think that this will just be a Burnham coronation now? I think it will be. I
can't see,
I
they'll
suspect
buy...
over the weekend, he's been on the phone, isn't he? To Angela Rayner, West Streeting, Edward Van, giving them all jobs.
They'll
There'll
buy
be no
West Streeting
competition.
off. They're saying they might make him Chancellor, which would be horrific. But,
Well,
you
better
know.
than Miliband.
Anything's
That's
better
what
than
they were talking about last week. I mean, that would be absolutely horrendous.
It would.
But it's all going to be horrendous because in 6 months' time, in fact, in 6 days' time, you're going to be predicting the demise of Andy Burnham again.
I will be.
Because Andy Burnham's the same as Keir Starmer.
I might be doing that tomorrow. I mean,
Well, here's a thought. What if John Healey and Al Carnes launched a combined?
So I've heard.
Here's some military values. These people know, and I have heard firsthand from the military. John Healey, they're sorry to see him leave.
Well, maybe, but John Healey will go back as Defence Secretary on the promise from Andy Burnham, no doubt, of a 3 to 3.5% spend of GDP on
No, he
defence.
can't because he hasn't got the money. There is no money there.
Well, I don't think that stopped politicians in the past promising things.
No, but I think John Healey is not going to be taken for a fool twice, is he?
The reality is,
done over
though,
once.
we need kit now. You know, we're not planning for a war in 10 years' time. We need it, and Al Carnes said, we need it now to fight what is going on now.
Only Keir Starmer.
You can't have soldiers running around Salisbury Plain shouting bang as they are at the moment. Because we have
that really happening?
that is really happening because we've run out of blank firing ammunition. That is a disgrace.
Well, this is the thing, you know, and only Keir Starmer thought that it was realistic to actually say, oh, don't worry, by 2030 we'll be able to go to war. And you go, well, hang on a minute, it's only 2026. You can't say we'll be ready in 4 years.
With our one back.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah. Just in the same way how we deployed our glorious flotilla to the Mediterranean or to the Middle East.
When you say flotilla, do you mean HMS Dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
was only one boat, actually.
Our little
Straight
dragon, I know,
yeah.
sort of a bit of a sarcasm there, but our little boat
Yes. No, I know.
finally
Sorry.
made it out in the car
But
park.
let me go back to Dean, because I feel bad, because we
That's
literally had to break away from Dean, as he was talking about something very important about homeless veterans and all of that. Have you got to go?
I've got to go.
Feel
I've got a
free.
show, apparently.
Yeah, just go.
Which
You've
I'll
got a
see
show
you
to
in a
do.
minute.
Yeah, I'll see you in a minute. So, Dean, sorry I interrupted you.
That's
there.
fine.
Tell us more about Squatty Box.
So Squatty Box. So why we do what we do? We did some sort of digging early on that there was a lot of homeless veterans out there who were really suffering, trying to make connections, trying to claim for benefits and various other things. And we sort of made lots of inquiries, or I made lots of inquiries. I was quite ill at the time and I was just literally going out of my mind, so I just did a load of research and found out that actually there was no services available at all, contrary to what everybody said.
Right.
So the common misconception is that you can use a job centre to claim mail. That's absolutely impossible to do.
Yeah.
Theoretically, you can, but you can't. We're trying to do it, trying to get past the guards, trying to get past this, that, the other. And then if you've got a veteran who's got all this trauma and everything else going with that, they're just not going to go into the job centre. So I created Squatty Box. We have 3 Squatty Boxes deployed already.
And what's in the box?
It's a post box.
Right.
It's literally, it's not a PO box, it's a post box by way, that's their address.
Okay.
So it's not a forwarding address, which a lot of the others are.
Right.
This is their end
Oh,
address.
that's a great idea.
So we have one outside of GP surgery.
Yeah.
We've got one in Clacton.
Yeah.
We've got one in Hastings. We've got another one going out this week in Crawley on the train station.
Right.
I've just been told on Sunday that we've got somebody who wants to sponsor one in Chichester. We're trying to engage with all the councils across the UK to get them on board to work with this model, so we can then get it out there and spread the word.
Okay.
Something you mentioned earlier about councils, armed forces individuals, every single one of them, as you'd expect, is a veteran.
Yeah.
But it's only the veterans that are actually pushing this. And the irony is we do a civvy box as well, which is a sister equivalent. And once they see the difference it's going to make, because it's probably one of the biggest things in homelessness for a long time, because it breaks the cycle.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have an address, you can't claim benefits, you can't get a
Of course,
licence, you can't
yeah.
go for jobs.
Yeah.
You sort of can.
And it's a sort of vicious circle, isn't it? Because you can't get one without the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the key things we found is that quite a few of the homeless veterans we're coming across actually don't want to move into a house.
Right.
We've got what live in tents, We've got one that lives in a tent on a motorway.
And they're
service.
happy, because a lot of people talk about that sometimes.
Yeah.
That there are some homeless people who are quite happy being homeless, and that's hard for us to believe.
Yeah.
But some people don't mind it.
They don't want the responsibility of owning a property, renting a property, all the bills and everything goes with it. They just want a simple life. So we've got a guy who lives in a van, we've got a guy who lives in a tent, we've got a guy who lives in a camper with his dog.
So you're not necessarily about housing them, you're just about looking after them.
We're about reconnection.
Yeah.
We saw so much more, and what we are finding as well, like with Hugh and we've served, they see the value in connecting with us because we're the analogue of their digital.
Yeah.
And also that you've got this scenario where a lot of the people we're dealing with, the sort of, it's the charities that we're talking to, they're starting to realise well, actually we can help them. Because if we can enable somebody who's homeless to start claiming benefits, to start getting into the system, it takes the pressure off that charity because they've got their own money then.
Yeah.
And if they do want to get housed, they've potentially got a deposit. So actually, it not only breaks that cycle, it actually eases up on other charity services as well.
Right, okay. And if people want to find out more about Squatty Box, is there a website?
Yeah, we've got a website. We're on all over internet now, so if you Google us, we're all over that now. It's really good. People like yourself have been fantastic, and Hugh and people like that are really pushing the mission.
Yeah.
We're trying to network, LinkedIn, all over LinkedIn as well.
Okay.
Our biggest thing is connection. We want to connect with as
And
many
how many
organisations.
homeless veterans are there? Do you know?
This is the very good question. So part of our mission is actually to try and do some research around that.
Yeah.
We've had.
If you take sort of averages from various charities, around 3,000.
Okay.
But the highest demographic is in Cornwall.
Is it?
Yeah. And actually, as Dean was saying, and you remember Badger?
Yeah, Badger, of course.
Noon
How
Craig.
is Badger?
Yeah, he's good.
Where is he now?
He got blown away from his
I remember
original
the
one.
storm,
But
yeah.
just as Dean was saying, though, they're in vans, they've got marquees and tents. He's moved location, but Noon Craig is still running.
Okay.
He's still picking up homeless veterans in Cornwall. He's still retraining them in, dry stone walling skills.
Okay.
etc.
I'm actually in touch with him.
You are good.
Yeah.
And so,
do they find it difficult to stay in these vans and tents?
where
do
to
they
get your
moved
mails?
on?
Yeah, that's the
Do
point.
they get moved on
Yeah.
by councils and stuff like that, or?
That's the problem. You can't just park anywhere, and the bonus of what we do means you've got a fixed address. So if you are moving around, you can always collect your mail from a single point. So that actually, it helps massively in that scenario.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
Brilliant.
Quick comment here, Mike. Laura
Yeah.
from Trigonometry.
Oh yeah, Laura from Trigonometry. How can you sponsor a Squatty Box?
Okay.
Because the guys from Trigonometry, great podcast.
Yeah.
Constantine Kissin and Francis.
Drop me an
Foster.
email. Go onto the website.
Okay.
Drop me an email. dean@squaddybox.org.uk.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Because another thing I would suggest, and I don't know whether you've thought of this, is go to the guys at Reform and say, they've got a lot of councils now, and say, why don't you adopt this?
Already doing it.
Get
Already
them-
doing it.
And are you already doing it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because so much can go on behind the scenes that are not on official channels.
Since Reform have taken over a lot of the councils, we've had 12 councils already contact us through
Great.
Reform.
Excellent.
Who want to already engage with it.
That's
So,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, great to see you guys. Are you coming in every day, or
Yep.
are you?
Yeah, apart from, we've got Heidi and Ed from Centre of Mind and Body. Of
course.
I won't be in that day, but I'll be in. You'll have my
Every day?
dulcet tones
Excellent. Well,
for
I'm
the rest of the
looking
week.
forward to that. Super chat here from Chris. Kids get a free Weetabix and Rodney gets free clothes and a tax-free pension. Champagne socialist at its best. Yeah, that's the thing. And I think a lot of people will watch that. We'll be watching it, I'm sure, all day, the Keir Starmer resignation speech. Morning, Mike. The destruction of UK started with Blair. The Conservatives took it on. Labour are doing it with gusto. Starmer has become a liability to the globalist Fabians. Not communist enough. No, he's not. And the crocodile tears, I'm sure he's feeling very emotional because it's not nice to lose your job. But at the end of the day, he brought it on himself. He just didn't do the right thing. He didn't listen to the people. He treated everybody like dirt and thought that he was entitled to run the country, even though he should have been listening. He wasn't listening. And so, I don't mourn his passing at all, I'm afraid. I'm really happy. And I think you should be as well. Guys, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Dean, Squatty
Cheers.
Box, go check it out. Dean Wormleyton there. Hugh Andre, of course, as well from We Serve. We're going to finish up with a rather special one today, a Pooch's Pooch. This is my daughter Emma's new dog, whose name is Zayn. And he's an Arab hunting dog, lives in Dubai. And here he is encountering for the first time one of those robot vacuum cleaners. funny looking dog,
He's
isn't
at
he?
the stage where he's just got his legs too long for
Yeah,
his body.
yeah.
Look.
He's looking going, what the hell is it? Fantastic.
Oh, we got heron of the day, Mike, first time.
Oh, we've got a heron as well, yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Let's have a look. Oh, Tom. Yeah, Woolston Park, Warrington. There's lots of, actually there's some quite good herons have been coming in. I've got Squaddy Box here. I'll put something up on Twitter and Facebook as well. Squaddybox.org.uk, living a better way to a new life. What a great idea.
The Mike Graham Show will sponsor a Squaddy Box.
We will, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
UK Live will do as well.
yeah. UK Live, of course, takes off the second week for UK Live, which is quite nice. Lots of people messaging me to say how happy they are that Keir Starmer's gone. And I think the nation rejoices now at this point because it's hard to imagine. This is the same guy, do you remember, who sat there calling everybody far-right thugs, telling everybody what they should be doing, how he's going to stand by this person, that person, you know, just ridiculous. The whole kind of Keir Starmer project has been a complete disaster. Starmer didn't listen, says Joe Beer. He just smeared those who opposed him. I think that's right. Even the teachers this morning are calling for Starmer to quit. And once you've lost the teachers, if you're a lefty, you've got literally no chance, right? We've been covering this guy for the best part of, well, we've certainly been covering it since the beginning of January when we started. 6 months in, we finally got rid of him. So it just shows you the power of the people, because whoever you may be, whichever politician from whichever party you think you are, you cannot run this country without taking the advice of the people who live in it. And you can't ruin the country just because you think you want to recreate it and socially engineer it in your own image. And you can't take us for granted. You know, whatever Andy Burnham might have learned from what's happened in the last couple of weeks, hopefully he's learned this, that if you want to be somebody who is respected by the people of this country, if you want to be somebody who actually has a place as the leader of this country, and it's not by any means guaranteed, Andy Burnham might not win. He might actually be challenged. We just heard there from Hugh Andre. It might be that John Healey and Al Carnes decide to challenge him because they would be a much better alternative than the socialist Andy Burnham, who just wants to put your taxes up and give more of our money away. I'm very pleased that Two-Tier resigned during your show. Well timed, says Benny. Well, I'm absolutely delighted. As I said before, when I used to do the mid-morning show at Talk, people used to resign during my show all the time. Theresa May resigned during my show, and I think so did Boris. And when I went to do breakfast, they started resigning during breakfast. So Starmer going is better than England winning the World Cup, says Red. It actually is. I mean, I'm feeling a sense of sort of delayed gratification here because obviously I wanted it to happen. I willed it to happen, and I've been trying to make it happen for 2 years. And now that it has happened, I'm going to take credit for it, right?
You predicted it, Mike.
Great show as always, says Tony. Starmer resigning has made it much better, and I did predict it. And, you know, like I said, let's hope that the people who are going to come next, whoever they are, whether it's Andy Burnham, whether it's Wes Streeting, whether it's Al Carnes, and whether it's John Healey, the whole point about listening to the people is that that's the only way that you can be a politician in this country, because we're having a revolution here. You know, it's no longer just about the Tories and the Labour Party. You've got reform, right? Oh, here's a good question. Judas Goat says, so did you win your bet with Emma Wolf then? Well, see, now it's kind of been thrown back into, doubt, I would say, because it's very clear to me. No, hang on. Pooch Estate's a day late, and I have already agreed to give Emma 50 quid, so I will, because she's going to give it to charity, and that's fine. And maybe we'll give it to We Served, actually, or maybe we'll give it to Squaddy Box.
Yeah, let's give it to Squaddy Box.
Should we give it to Squaddy Box? Yeah, all right. I'll tell you what, we'll give it to Squaddy Box, but I'll have the official handing over of the money next week to Emma, But here's the thing. You know, if you want to get something done in this country, you just make it happen, because you can. I mean, look at Keir Starmer. This bloke came into power in July of 2024, and he thought for all the world that he was literally crowned King of Britain, because he thought that he had such a big majority that he could do anything. And what this has proven is that you can't just take the people for granted. You can't do anything. You can't just assume that everyone will bow to your kind of communist manifesto and will do whatever it is that you want them to do, because that's not the way it works, I'm afraid. And so I'm very encouraged that the people's power has proven that you can get rid of people like Keir Starmer. I've always said it. I've always believed it to be possible. I've always believed it could happen. But I'm certainly going to make the case as we go forward that if Keir Starmer resigned and decided to resign last night, I actually win the bet. I know that Pooch is not going to let me get away with it. He's not going to let me get away with it. I think there's an argument to be made, right? That he made the decision last night because he resigned this morning at 9:30. So I say he went on the 21st, and that was the bet. It's uncanny, isn't it? How brilliant I am at this. Here's one from Swordfish. I'll move you over to UK Live shortly. Brilliant show, Mike, and thanks Pooch and the crew all in chat. Have a great day. Be safe. Take care. See you all on the other channel. Yeah, switch over now to UK Live because it's time for Russell Quirk with the Quirk Report. And then, of course, Mark Littlewood from Spain with all the latest on the World Cup. And I'm sure he'll have something to say about Starmer as well. It's been an amazing day. A red letter day. Cheers. Here's to the demise of the worst Prime Minister that this country has ever seen. Don't come back. See you tomorrow.